Is it connecting? Yes. How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses with your favorite show hosts, Aristotle.
Venarian.
And Vorcel, with us all three having finally navigated our various technical difficulties to get to our current
Yeah.
position, such as it is. Unfortunately for Fern, his current position is watching a progress bar while he does something else in the background. So,
I left the patching of the wooers too late.
yeah,
So
they do drop some chungus patches, but this is true of basically every game now. Like, if it was
True.
COD, you'd probably be downloading 120 gigabytes or something. I don't know.
If it was COD, I would be throwing my computer off a cliff.
You'd have to
Just in pure self-defense.
go and sit in the desert doing penance for 20 years or something.
Yes. Go away and think about my actions.
Anyway, if you'd like to, anyway, we're here to bring you latest news, games, strong commentary for the week. If you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us an email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com. You can follow us on the Twitter and at noexcusesvtw. You can join us in the Discord server, which is the best place to listen to talk to the show hosts and other listeners to the show, especially because it doesn't involve going on Twitter. Which is not something that I can heartily recommend. And you can get that by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the show archive on YouTube.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I feel like the Twitter algorithm is trying to smooth all the wrinkles out of my brain.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Like, the people on Twitter may physically exist somewhere in the world, but they're not real people. Not the ones that get engagement. They are, in fact, so far divorced from the way normal people think that they would seem insane if you met them in person, probably.
Yes. Could be worse, I suppose. It could be TikTok people.
Well, yeah. Then they'd be Zoomers.
Then they'd be Zoomers.
Or my
really,
uncle.
really dumb ones.
Possum loves his TikTok. That is the perfect level of intellectual stimulation for him.
Oh dear.
Perfect duration of attention span.
Stops him from buying another truck.
All right. Shall we dive straight into weeks?
Yes. Burn your week.
Because I don't have one.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in that weird headspace at the moment. Like, I just came out of a massive hell march. I haven't had time to do any gaming. So now whenever I do have some time, I kind of just sit and stare at the computer screen. And are completely unable to decide what to do. But yeah, like, I want to do things. I want to play things. But at the same time, it's like, can't. Or just cannot do it. I don't know why. Stupid. So yeah, a lot of my week actually has been sitting down and just watching the absolute dumpster fire of Windows 11 of all things.
Do you have Windows 11 installed?
I do not. I am very, very glad for that fact.
I have to have it on one of my devices for work, and I have it on one of my devices where it came pre-installed.
Ugh.
We froze it in the air.
Yeah. And actually the enterprise version, that's probably even worse because they've had some interesting bugs. Like, there was a patch back at the start of January where they cocked it up, so a lot of people on enterprise version rolled it back. But by doing so, the next patch messed with your partitions. So Windows would try and boot to a partition that wouldn't exist.
Uh-huh.
But why?
Because Microsoft.
Because they had AI design it.
They have had AI design it, and they are vibe coding.
Killed a heffalump.
The needful SAR?
So, honestly, if I was Microsoft, I would just take Windows, throw it out completely, and start from scratch at this point.
I mean, I am fighting tooth and nail to keep Windows 10 running as long as I can. I've got a 100% totally legal USB drive that totally isn't cracked that can install Windows 10 on any device I want now. I mean, it's totally legal, obviously.
Obviously. Hey, Windows lets you make it. It's legal.
If having a product doesn't constitute owning, as far as I'm concerned, me having that product also does not mean I'm stealing it.
That is true. So yeah, you've got things going on like Microsoft, for the first time in a long, long time, has actually dropped in the stock market. Their rating has been downgraded. They've got a significant portion of their user base going back to Windows 10 or to Windows 7.
I
Because
mean,
7
it makes
was
sense for
actually
their stock price to drop because it's like this is kind of an implicit statement that you don't have anything interesting to say about the modern market.
yeah. And yeah, because they're trying to cram Copilot AI into everything, nobody wants to use it.
And when they, yeah,
CEOs out the front gabbling on about
In
AI.
there is like my workplace, for instance, has basically endorsed Copilot as the only AI thing you're allowed to use.
Because you don't have a choice. So yeah, it's an absolute dumpster fire. But I also, while I was at it, I was looking into Linux distros and seeing what was out there and how hard it would be. You can have a Linux distro installed on your computer in about 5 minutes.
if Steam
Well,
can
I
get
mean, that a Linux distro tells you precisely nothing about what you've installed, though.
No, you've got to pick the right one, and there's a lot of them.
Like the one that most people with our sort of use cases are interested in these days is Bazite.
Mm-hmm.
Basically because it's designed to allow games to work and be mostly idiot proof.
Yeah. In terms of like usability, if you're just a regular day-to-day user, you'd probably go with Mint. But if you want to do a lot of gaming and stuff, Bazite, which I
yeah,
think is based off Mint anyway.
Well, they have storied and incestuous lineages.
Yes.
as most Linux things do.
So yeah, so far for now though, Windows 10 is still working. I'm not having any issues with it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It every now and again it will ask me, now that I've upgraded my my GPU, sorted a few back end issues out. But yeah, I'm not in any hurry to do that, like at all. So the day that I absolutely have to leave Windows 10 behind is the day I'll be going to Linux.
Yeah, I'm just hoping Gabe will save us. You know.
Basically where I'm at. I'm hoping they can get that Proton-based Steam OS
Mm.
to be something functional that you can run most Windows crap on and put on a PC. If Gabe can make that happen, I'm done with Windows.
Yeah, and I think a lot of gamers will be as well, because Windows, especially Windows 11, is a massive resource hog.
Oh yeah.
I'm deeply insecure about what's going to happen when Gabe passes away.
Oh,
It's a worrying thought, isn't it?
he is the only CEO that exists at the moment that is still somewhat consumer focused.
Who is an actual person.
Like, I don't care how many yachts Gabe has, because Gabe hasn't screwed me over yet.
Gabe has earned those yachts.
Gabe may have pushed a few wacky updates, but he gets them sorted out and doesn't update Steam that much. Keeps it mostly the same unless it's been a long time and they really got to push through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a few missteps they've made over the years, like letting crazy people take care of their censorship and stuff like that.
You know, some guy that just hates anime.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
No, it's
Still a weird time.
It's still going
Yeah.
on. Like there's a couple of people on their content curation team that just they grade on a curve and anime loses about 20 points out the gate.
Yes. Because they're PDFs, apparently.
But
Yes.
That's what the lib shits are using as their way of avoiding saying the word pedophile to not get filtered by algorithms.
Yeah.
See, this
So
is
they're PDF files, which is allowable to say.
But it's incredibly cringe.
It is
Unbelievably so.
It is.
But so is everything they use to get around the algorithms.
Doesn't matter
And,
like why people? What's wrong with you? Do you
I can
feel
understand.
the need to throw that accusation out so wildly so much?
Oh, it
Well,
doesn't mean
because
anything.
that's what you do, right? Like, if you've got some reason to be anxious about it carrying any weight, all you need to do is reduce the weight that it carries, right? Like, as
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, they're outing themselves.
Hmm.
Like,
So yeah,
that's the only reason that you spuriously throw around serious objections if you don't want them to be serious anymore.
Every time I hear about the new happenings on the rest of the public internetosphere from you people, I'm just like, why the f- are you there? It just sounds awful.
oh,
Well,
what
I
have
can't go
I?
to the farm, so I'll get arrested.
Oh. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, what's really cringe about all of that though is when like it's understandable content creators using those terms. But when you get people in real life using them still, it's just embarrassing.
It is virtue signaling, in my opinion. They're trying to show that they are part of the group that says this word, and the group that says this word are designated as virtuous in their eyes. So, like, this is all like a really bizarre sort of social clout chasing game.
Yeah.
The I'm not a Baudrillard fan. I think that he's mainly just saying things that are obvious, but the the vibe of his terminology of calling it the hyper reality is very real.
All right. So honestly, that's it for my. I've done nothing.
Oh no, you can kill the baby seals.
Why are you
Yes.
murdering baby seals?
Go to the baby seals.
Like the penguins are immortal, but the baby seals aren't. What's wrong with you, Kuro Games?
What did you do?
Well, to be fair, it's sort of part of Ameth's backstory that she liked to pick on the baby seals
Oh
in a
dear.
good-natured way. Well, the thing is that she took her moniker from them, right? Like, she, as an artist, Ameth calls herself Fleet Snowfluff, and the baby seals are called Snowfluffs. And the reason she says Fleet Snowfluff specifically is because the description of snowfluff seals is that they are these seals that basically their sole method of self-defense as an animal is to try and intimidate the opponent. The problem is that humans find them completely adorable no matter what they're doing, so their intimidation tactic always fails, and the only weapon of last resort they've got after failing at intimidation is to simply jet as fast as possible. Since they literally, as a species, have nothing to back up the intimidation in any context.
So, intimidation failed. Run away. That's it.
Yeah.
I grabbed a
But
grapple point and it took me
they're
very
little
far.
Ameth's favorite playmates when she's a little girl. Except for that time she brought one inside and it ruined the floorboards.
So yeah, I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else actually I could talk about this week? Not much, unless you want to talk about kittens. So yeah, that's it.
Doing general kitten things.
Yeah, we got a new kitten. So
How many
he's
animals are
settling
in
in.
that house now?
How long does a kitten stay a kitten anyway? Like, I've never had a cat.
It varies. Like the growth period or the primary growth period up until they can be considered an adult or at least late adolescent is usually anywhere for between 6 to 12 months, depending on the breed.
The age where they will naturally be held responsible for their actions.
Yes, except they're a cat, so they will never will.
They don't. I didn't say they would take responsibility for their actions, but to the point where they will start being called "you bloody bastard" rather than their name.
Yes, that's a good metric. So yeah, the Maine Coon we had last year actually passed away at the start of the end of last year. Snake bite got him. So
Oh.
because Australia. So now we've got new cats. And it's Maine Coons again because my parents have just fallen in love with Maine Coons.
Are they the giant ones?
They are the giant ones. They are also unbelievably fussy. They are giant cat with giant personality.
Oh, the
And
main
giant appetite too, because
Giant
grief.
entitlement complex.
Also,
that might
yes.
just be cats.
Well, that is cats, but
The
yeah, the Maine Coon is up there as well.
the opossum was trying to convince me to let him get a Maine Coon for the office, and I told him, if you do that, I'm packing the office up and moving it out of your house.
They're a good cat, but they are very high maintenance.
Oh
Let's
no,
just say.
no, I'm allergic to cats. Like actually,
Oh,
for
okay.
for reals, he's allergic. Not Twitterite girl
Not
allergic.
Twitter allergic.
Yeah, not chasing for clout allergic. Like actually, skin will swell up wherever a cat touches me, and if I get any nose, I have trouble breathing. You cannot keep a
Yeah,
cat
in
near
that
me.
case, the only cat you can have around is a Sphinx.
Yeah, like though the
And they're
hairless.
naked.
Yeah, the hairless cats. Well, even then, if a cat's claw scratch gets me, it makes the skin swell up horrendously.
Mm.
Like I don't know what it
Yeah,
is, but my system just is like no cat, cat bad.
no cat. So yeah, that's a shame, but yeah, I
So
get
I relate to cats more than dogs, but I cannot have them.
I'm
it.
definitely a dog person more than a cat person.
Yeah, the Maine
I
Coon is the dog person's cat.
my relationship to cats tends to be one of like sort of mutual acrimony. Like we'll just sort of glare at each other whenever we enter the room, sort of thing. Because I've lived with plenty of cats, because I've had flatmates who've had them, etc. But I've never really got along with them per se. It's sort of like we will not harm each other this time.
Yeah. What I have found is that specifically because whenever I go to a friend's house and I have to avoid the stupid cat, the cat suddenly thinks I'm the most interesting person on the planet.
Oh yeah, that's a cat thing.
Like because I'm going
They
out
know
of
where they are not wanted.
yeah, and it will come and terrorize me the whole time. I'm like, look, I would love to play with you. I cannot.
No, no, you will pop up like a balloon if you touch the cats. Therefore, you are the plaything.
Yeah. Incidentally, do not stay over at your friend's house in high school if you are allergic to cats and they have a cat.
Oh no,
It will
then the
not.
cat will be sleeping on you.
No, then you'll wake up unable to breathe, even if you're in a room the cat supposedly never goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no such thing as a room a cat owner has that the cat never goes in. Number one, because cat goes where cat pleases, and number two, because cat will leave cat everywhere, and you can't
Yeah,
stop it.
and it takes a long time to actually clean all the cat dander out of a house.
Yeah. That was
And by
how.
long time, that means like 6 years of
Yeah.
concerted effort.
Yeah, that friend stayed over at my house from then on. I never stayed at his house again.
Yeah, probably wise. So yeah, that's really been my week. It's been a nothing week. I need to find something nerdy to sink my teeth into, but I just don't have the motivation right now.
What I find when I get in situations like that, if I really like don't want to be sitting around doing anything, and I start to get in that veg out mindset, if I have no good reason to be in the veg out mindset, and I know that somewhere I want to be doing something, just force yourself to play literally anything,
Yeah.
and give it like 15 minutes. And as soon as the tism kicks in for whatever you're playing, I'm usually out of it anyway. So it might work for you. Just pick something and
Maybe.
force yourself to play it, whether you think you want to or not.
Yeah, I need to sit down and finish Expedition 33. Probably should do that because that game is good.
Keep trying to use the things to find the supply chests for me, but they don't work in multiplayer. I gotta find them the old-fashioned way.
I know Genshin is very strange on what it lets you do in multiplayer or not, but WoW honestly seems worse in a lot of ways.
Oh, it's literally just for dicking around on the show. Like we can do nothing of substance other than go explore a little bit and farm some echoes.
Yeah, at least with
Disappointing.
Genshin you can do bosses and stuff.
I mean, do the baby tier bosses. Like, can't do the weekly bosses though.
No, you can't do
The ones
proper
I actually
bosses.
need.
Boop. All right, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm just gonna do Lantern Rite and I'm gonna do the frogs in the sky game. I'm on the survival mode or the endless mode, whatever they call it.
Oh, that thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
frog, it
where
took
you do.
it
It
took
takes a while.
yeah, it took a second. I'm like, frogs in the sky game.
Yeah. it's in-universe Genshin folklore. It's going to make weird sense.
Frog ate the moon.
Frog ate the
Enough
moon.
said.
This is getting bullet helly. Wee. So,
No.
all right, that's my week.
All right. Paul, before we jump to your week, because you're going to be touching on Gacha stuff, and that's going to take a while. I'm going to do the only thing I've got that isn't Gacha related is just a quickie on East 9. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and knock that out because I do want to bring it up to people because it might be relevant to some people.
With the most sincerely autistic localizer of all time.
Yeah, well, it's the PC port guy, not the localizer. The
port guy, yeah.
The localizer is somebody different. And then we'll do Gacha stuff together and try and bring Fern in wherever we can. So okay. So my week, I've not had a whole lot of free time this week. I'm going to tell you I played East 9. I'm only on like chapter 6 out of 11. You're going to see a whole lot of play hours, but like the other East games, these are the worst games for tracking playtime, actual playtime, because they have the exact same achievement to play every character for 5 hours. So what this means is Steam Deck on, sits beside me, with that character as the leader of the party, auto run into a wall, and go do something else.
Just leaving him standing doesn't count?
No, you gotta move. So
rubber band on the controller trick.
Yeah,
it's classic.
Yeah, and the Steam Deck sticks are nice enough that you don't even need the rubber band. You can just put something wedged against it, and it will not start drifting or get out of whack. So I've just had the Steam Deck open and let that thing auto run. So East 9 is the current latest in the chronology. East 10's a very early in the timeline, right after East 2, I think. And East 10 is the latest one. There's actually next week, the 20th, so week after next, East 10 Proud Nordics is coming out, which is the big, because Falcom's an older school company, you know how games will release, the Game of the Year edition equivalent. This is that.
Okay.
And it comes to all the DLC plus new content plus new quests and stuff to do. So I'm waiting for that version before I get East 10. I have not bought East 10 yet. But before I get to East 10, I haven't played East 9 yet. I still have a few of the other Easts to go through too, because they dropped the numbering for a while and then pick it back up. I cannot remember off the top of my head which ones those are. But failing at puzzle.
Now that this game that I'm playing is actually started to get some teeth, I'm realizing just how bullshit the hitbox on your character is. That's fun.
Yes. I'm struggle busting way harder than I should on this.
Oh my goodness, stop being such a scrub.
Okay, there we go. Out here. So, okay.
I'm just going to continue my systematic genocide of your ecosystem.
So yeah, so I wanted to go through East 9 because it's the last one in the particular style of East 8. There were only 2 games in that style, and I really liked East 8. And before it gets so old that I have to start working up motivation to actually play through it, I wanted to just go ahead and get her done. So I've been playing through that. And then Ibu pointed something out to me. He's like, so Durante stuck a rudimentary co-op feature in the game. We could try it. Sure, okay. I don't know anything about how it works. Like, neither do I. And he said it was pretty jank, but it supposedly works. Now, normally East 10 does not have co-op. East 10 is not built for co-op. But there's a guy that does the PC ports for basically all of the Falcom games called Durante. And what he implements a whole lot of quality of life features in these games that you just don't you don't normally get. This includes like the most common mod of all time, which is skip the title cards for every game. He just builds that into it. So yeah. Oh, hang on. Struggle button again.
Are you even so bad?
Oh no.
You just can't puzzle today.
Yeah, I'm trying to talk and puzzle at the same time is why. So yeah. So he just liked couch co-op and was mad that, you know, companies don't do couch co-op for stuff anymore. So he just built it and stuck it in the game.
Does he have to ask before doing this stuff?
I you know, honestly, there we go. Now we can puzzle. Honestly, Falcon would probably just let him get away with it at this point because he's so well
you're
loved.
making free content for us anyway.
Yeah, like he goes above and beyond for their ports. Like if he anything short of damaging the IPs, I think they'll let him do whatever he wants. So the co-op feature is weird. For those that haven't played the East games, the latest East games, all the characters are already on field. For your 3 you keep in your party, and you have 3 in reserve that you can swap whenever you're not in combat. What this co-op mode allows you to do is let player 2 just take control of one of the characters and play with you alongside you. And it works.
This used to be the norm in a lot of games.
Yeah, and it's
right, if they had on-field party.
Yeah, and it's kind of mind-boggling that Falcom didn't just include it for funsies themselves. So because the game though is not built for this, and Durante's one dude and just kind of bolted this onto the game with what he had available, it has some quirks, and
if shoes, perhaps.
I wouldn't call them shoes because they're working as intended in air quotes, and that it's the best we could do with what we had. This is something that you're not really supposed to use, but I'm going to put it here anyway because I miss couch co-op.
Because why not?
So the first one is both players can control the camera.
Oh.
Now.
Oh no.
Now this gets even more fun for player 2.
What was the reason for doing it that way?
Just because he cannot make it so that whatever controller is plugged in doesn't have access to the camera on the right stick.
Right.
It's just hard coded that way. Because this uses
how it is.
Yeah, this uses the old jank Vita version of the Cold Steel engine, whatever engine that was.
Ah, so it's only designed for single input.
Yeah. So you're already working with a lot of jank here.
Vita was.
Yes. So both players can control the camera, and as we found out, this gets even more fun for player 2 if the player 1 plays with the camera inverted, and presumably vice versa as well, inverted. Because Winibu hopped on for a couple days this week to try this with me. He doesn't play inverted anymore. He trained himself to use normal camera because he got tired of games that didn't have the invert camera option. That's what he told me. And now
how many games are like that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, I can't think of any recent ones that don't include it, but okay, whatever. So he doesn't play inverted anymore. But I play with every game inverted because I'm old, and that's how I learned how to play. He was. It got to a point where he's like, okay, you know what? I'm just not going to touch the camera.
Probably wise.
We'll just let you go with it. And he specifically was like, I'm not going to move it. I'm especially not going to move it up and down. So, okay, that works. The camera does a relatively okay job with keeping both players in frame. And if it has to pick one, it'll pick player 1 to follow. But this isn't that big of a deal because if player 2 gets stuck like off the map somewhere, or winds up in the drink and it's fallen through the world or whatever, all they gotta do is tap start twice to drop in and drop back, or drop out and drop back in, and they just respawn right next to you. So it's just boop boop.
That's convenient.
Boop boop, and they're back. And yeah, the game works great. I imagine it's not balanced appropriately, but I started this playthrough on Nightmare, so everything's got a lot of health and hits really hard anyway. It's not lunatic difficulty, so it's not a one touch, but it playing on co-op didn't diminish the challenge, we'll say, on nightmare difficulty. So yeah, that worked okay. Other there, if a tutorial pops up, you know how Eastern games are in their tutorials. If one of those pops up, it can sometimes wig it out. Usually, just dropping in and dropping back out will fix it. We did run into one where it just broke the co-op until we got to the end of that room because that was the only one we had that just perma broke it, and we had to get out of that section of the game. There are some sections of the game that are single player only, like when you're playing as Adol in prison, because we're in a city town in this game, where co-op is obviously,
Actually, yeah.
yeah.
Like a lot of JRPGs and East in particular does it where there's just parts where there's only one character in the party.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't let you use co-op in those places.
Yeah, they're not going to just spawn in two Adols because it's pulling from your party list, and then the party list is just one Adol. So there's nothing.
It just won't work.
Yeah, there's nothing for it to hook to. But other than that, the gameplay works fine. Do not push the lock-on button though, unless you want to make yourself sick.
Have fun.
Because it does successfully lock onto the enemy, and it even locks onto them in a manner that you can see their attacks. The problem is that camera is going to act like a whirligig to make that happen, because it's going to, at the same time, try and keep the lock-on camera balanced between the two players.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
So we just didn't touch the lock-on button.
That's the no button now.
Yeah, that was thankfully East 9's abilities have kind of like Genshin level of auto aim on them. So you're okay to play without lock on in that game. It's not mandatory. I mostly use it when I'm playing single player just to reset as another way to reset the camera and then turn it off anyway.
So I use it in Monster Hunter.
Yeah. Well, Monster Hunter, it depends on the monster.
True.
Same with Dark Souls. Do not stay locked on off Medeir's head in Dark Souls 3. You will get sick. Another weird quirk we found was there is an ability you get in Chapter 4 to highlight stuff on the map, like the scan in Genshin. And you can just toggle it on and off, and it drains a little bar that takes quite a while to go down by itself. Both players can turn this on, and when one player has it on, like normal, it turns the world grayscale and puts a glow around all interactable objects, so you can see treasure chests and breakable stuff and collectibles in the world. If both players turn it on, the colors instead invert.
Oh.
And become hyper.
Is that intended?
No.
Are you sure? Because it sounds pretty novel.
Considering that they become hyper saturated and inverted, and bright as all get out, no, absolutely not.
Sounds like a good way to make each other throw up just from sensory overload.
So we unlocked this ability in Chapter 4, and Ibu was showing me how it worked. It's like, oh, this is cool. You can see stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. What button is it? R3. I push the button, and our screens explode. And so for the rest of the time, anytime one of us would push the button, if they didn't turn off the stupid grayscale effect within like 5 seconds, the other one of us would just mash the button again to flash their screen with the biggest turn that crap off button.
Oh, that's actually just really fun.
so all the gameplay related stuff works fine. It just, there's a whole lot of weird quirks to it because it's just a bolted on piece of jank tech that a guy made and made part of the official release just because he was mad that games that could support couch co-op weren't anymore. And Falcon was more than happy he did it. They let him make a little dumb trailer for it. And you could tell it's made by him because it's nothing like the high production trailers for the other patches of quality of life stuff Falcon puts out for their games. It is way lower quality and is just white text on some gameplay. But yeah, I love Durante and his patchwork he does. He's the one that made turbo mode work for games after Trails in the Sky, because XC did that originally in-house. And he's the one that got it to work for the Cold Steel games and then retro-ported it to the Crossbell games and made sure that Falcom included it in the base game and showed him how he did it. for the Daybreak games. So he's the reason I could play through a Trails game and not be there for 300 hours. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. The game East 9, it's an East game. Adol is an adventurer. He wants to go on adventures. He winds up in the Roman with a U city of Balduke, which is a prison city. Gets arrested because he's implicated in a whole bunch of world-shaping events from the previous games, and is a person under suspicion for being a crazy person that's involved in a whole lot of high-profile activity, and they want to have a chat with him. So they arrest him and throw him in prison. And he breaks out of prison, and while he's breaking out, he gets shot with a magic bullet from a mystery lady that gives him monster powers, and now he can teleport on top of buildings and zip around and stuff. But he's stuck in the city, and the only way they're going to let him out of the city is to remove the curse, because the curse won't let him leave. So he needs to figure out what's going on in the prison city and with the Romans and stop them from doing weird stuff that involves more dinosaurs.
Right.
Don't worry, it makes just as much sense when you actually experience it in game. You don't.
Yeah,
You
East is weird.
East has a few cool story moments sometimes, like East 8 especially did, but you're not there for the narrative. There's some character
No.
moments that are good and some good character stories, but the narrative in an East game, like they open the game with Adol in the interrogation room, and the interrogator going, "So, you had all these artifacts of power throughout your adventures, and you just kept losing them every time." Just
Well, he keeps getting shipwrecked. I mean, it's hard to swim when you've got all this stuff.
like she lampshades how supposedly he's had amnesia no less than 4 times, and
It's the
how does he
Samus Aran effect.
how does he not have drain damage? And then she lays into him for the amount of shipwrecks he opens all the games with, and how many angry captains there are in the world that have filed his name as the reason their ship got wrecked.
He's on the no boat list, I guess.
Yeah, well, you do just walk to Balduke with Dogi, so
So don't
Yeah,
need to
because they
worry
won't
about
let
the
you
no
off the
sail
boat.
list.
yes. So it was it's an interesting game. I enjoy the East series. Uh and the characters in this one, they're not as strong as East 8. East 8 had some really, really good character writing. Some of the characters were a ton of fun. These are mostly stock anime trope. They go a little deep with some of them, but it's like, you're starting on the slope to get out of the shallow end of the pool so far. I'm not done with the game yet, but I sincerely doubt we're going all the way to the deep end of the pool here. It's but it is what it is. It's a nice, fun, comfort game to do interesting action combat in, and see a few cute character stories and figure out what dumb narrative they've crafted for why Adol's on an adventure in this dumb place. So yeah, that's where we're at with East 9, and that's the only unique thing I've done this week. I'm barely halfway through the game, I think. Um, all I've done is get to chapter 6 and unlock the last party member. So we'll see as I get further into it. I'll come back with more reports. I have not played ZZZ this week. So the rest of my Gacha overlap will happen during Vol's week, because that's the only other thing I did. This week has been very busy at work. I did finally get a sale though, which is nice. That's actually chunky, because the snow has made the first part of this year very slow, and I was starting to get a little worried. But we finally had something break, and it's looking like a few more things might break soon. So finally making money for all that work I put in. Half a lump.
Yeah, for lumps.
Ooh, I wonder if we can do this. Yeah, not do it. F health peep though.
I don't have the bike upgrades to keep myself alive in there, though.
Don't worry, I believe.
just running around picking up Zhao lanterns at the moment, and there's a lot of people talking about shiny rocks.
Yeah, that's the default message.
That's the default message. Plus, it's what everybody wants for New Year's, right?
Everyone wants a shiny rock. I think my default is something a bit more random, but yeah.
Job fleur de lis. I'm used to you missing with the main kaboom. I am not used to you missing with the auto targeting skill. That's a new accomplishment.
It's our bro Spaceman.
Oh no, not Spaceman Clementine.
He's not coming down, bro. He's just hanging out.
I don't see
Don't
anything.
know why.
Our
health is going to run down. I can't heal if I'm not fighting.
Okay. I don't think we can actually
I think he's bugged.
He might be bugged.
Is he bugged?
I don't know if he likes having two people fight him. Well, I don't think the void whatever can actually kill you. Let me turn into a big booba giantess.
What?
You need to. We need to find a way to inflict knockdown on him.
What does this have to do with Big Booba?
Fleur de lis.
Right.
That'll probably do it.
Where is my download at? I am still 10 gig away because
Yep,
I have Australia internet.
Oh no!
I was like, he's still standing on the ground. Oh, hold on, no, that's Chekona. He's doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
They must not have tested this with multiple players or something.
Probably not. They seem like the multiplayer is very much an afterthought in that game.
I will get half of my health back if I can land the big fleur de lis move, but hitting him while he's in the air to charge the bar.
I see you hovering in the air.
The problem is Cardathea thinks he's on the ground.
Yeah, it's clearly buggy as shit.
Yeah.
His gaze is following you, like he's spinning on the spot, but he's not animating in any way.
I haven't. See a pet start singing.
Right, capitalize on it while he's on the ground.
Are we gonna hit?
No.
Oh, I see green numbers.
I died, but I still saw my ultimate animation. Like all of the particle effects went off.
Oh.
Except I was dead.
It's okay, we got him.
It does clearly just does not want us to do that, like at all. This is not what he bargained for.
Yeah, he did not have a good time.
He does have a lot of like very, very big sweepy attacks that lock on to a target. So it's probably a case of him not knowing who he's supposed to lock onto, and then he just sort of gets stuck until he gets subjected to knockdown.
Yeah, I wonder if his stupid suplex is what triggered it, because he got stuck right after he did it on me. That, or maybe it's his go up in the air phase, where you have to grapple stuff if that's part of the normal encounter.
I've never seen that happen fighting him normally, but he usually doesn't live long enough to actually do it. So
yeah, could be either of those. Or he's just not made for co-op and they forgot co-op exists.
Probably that.
I don't know. I send them feedback demanding that they improve co-op like literally every single time.
Oh no. That's not floor. That is in fact the Archaeozoic big hole. Speaking of the
The big
arcade,
hole.
speaking of the Archaeozoic big hole, Vol was watching me play a bit of East Nine and was laughing quite hard at one of the names of the areas that had some really banger tunes in it. I posted in the music channel, I think.
What was it like a Cloaca Maxima or something?
Yeah, it was like Maxima Cloaca
Why?
or Cloaca Maxima. Because
Well, I mean, I checked. I checked, and it turns out that when you turn the Latin verb for to clean into a noun, it literally means sewer, and that's what cloaca means.
Ah. So it's basically just big sewer, but presented in the weirdest way possible.
yeah,
Yes,
Right.
deeply unfortunate.
Very unfortunate.
it also has
Much
the
like being named Epstein in the modern day.
Yes.
that sewer has the, no joke, the most rockin' soundtrack you've ever heard for a sewer.
Right. But more the point, it's still a sewer though.
Yes, but
No, it's the Grand Cloaca.
The Grand Cloaca. Fine.
yes. The reason I bring that up is because in E8, the first pass of localization was so bad and done by people who probably spoke English as like a fifth language. Instead of, the Archaeozoic chasm, we have Archaeozoic big hole.
I'll take big hole.
And Archaeozoic big hole kind of became the rallying cry for people to make Falcom go do
They
another
weren't
pass.
lying.
I mean, it wasn't wrong, but at the same time, it is such an inelegant way to do it that people are like, no.
Poetically speaking, it left something to be desired.
Yes.
So Archaeozoic big hole became the rallying cry to please do another pass of the localization on E8 because it was infamously bad.
Except leave that one.
Yeah, I remember they in fact just released a patch where they just redid the translation.
Yeah, it was bad.
Personally,
But,
I would have left the big hole though.
I don't know if it's going to get better or worse with machine translation more likely to be doing it in the future.
A whole lot more.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a mixed bag.
we're gonna get a whole lot of Archaeozoic big holes. Well, actually, it probably won't do Archaeozoic. It'll probably just be the really old big hole.
Yes. Big old hole.
There you go, the big old hole.
Well, it was a big old hole though.
Here's a big old hole.
I remember playing through E8 and thinking the whole time, because I didn't play the original patch. I'm thinking the whole time, well, I know I'm not near the end of the game yet because I haven't seen the big hole yet.
Yep. There you go. You saw the big hole. Game's over.
Well, the game keeps going for quite a while after you get to the big hole, actually.
But is there any more highlights?
Right. So
what else left? What is left good in life after you've gone and seen the big old hole?
from the depths of the Archaeozoic big hole, there's dinosaurs down there. There's a lot of dinosaurs down there.
Anyway,
Well, on to gachas
where
with
was
you
we?
and your week.
Right. Let's see. My week sucked. It's going to continue to suck going forward. Lots of things went wrong. I have too many things to do and not enough time. I'm going to spend probably most of my life at work for the next week, just trying to get the maximum number of things caught up so I can return to some semblance of normality. Hopefully, possibly, unlikely. at any rate, it's going to be quite miserable. Let's see, this week. Well, I guess we'll start with Lantern Rite without going into too much detail, because Fern is still doing it. I liked it well enough. It's got quite a bit less emotional heft than the last one.
Yeah,
It's not quite the same creature.
I think that's this thing's big problem is last year's Lantern Rite was just really, really good, comparatively speaking.
Yeah, this one seems like it's good enough, but it's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's basically, it seems to be far more concerned with being a lore tie-in than being a good story. Like, oh, but we keep talking about the moon, therefore everything has to be about the moon.
I'm honestly getting very, very tired of people talking about the moon.
Yeah, well, I mean, reasonably speaking, the moon arc has hit its completion now. Like, there's not really any good reason to keep barking on about the moon. Like, we're basically done with Nod Cry. We can go somewhere else now. There's nothing left.
Well,
we're just treading water until Shnesnaya at this point. You gonna say something?
I said we think, but all that stuff, that stuff with Dottore.
Yeah, well, I mean, that seems like cope more than anything else. I mean, it might be. They could throw us a curveball, but the evidence to support it is not that strong. Or at least I would not say so. It doesn't seem that way to me. Yeah, the lore people are always banging on about something or other. Like the people who are huge fans of the lore, but it's not really a case of oh well, which what is the sort of the new grand direction they're heading in, so much of which one of these epileptic trees is actually the one they're going to pick, because they've seeded the ground with so many potential stories that they can pretty much do whatever they want. Like they get away without pulling things out of their backside, largely because they have left so many plot threads lying around in item descriptions, etc., and incidental conversations, that anything that they choose to do is going to be backed up by something. Like there's not going to be a situation where they need to just start making stuff up. And this is sort of something that is a wise thing of them to have done to avoid ending up like World of Warcraft, where in World of Warcraft pretty much everything that happens seems like completely arbitrary bullshit, for the simple reason that it is completely arbitrary bullshit. And
They ran out of plot threads years ago.
Yeah, the reason why it is arbitrary bullshit was because they didn't prepare for killing all their villains and running out of heroes. And so now they're trying to do sort of edgy deconstructive crap that is mostly concerned with current year, because they have no imagination and no creativity whatsoever. Like Blizzard as a studio has a lot of problems, but its primary problem, in my opinion, is that they are a bunch of creatively bankrupt hacks.
Yes.
And that's all there is to it. That's it. That's the problem in a nutshell. They can't create because they suck at their job. All the people who didn't suck at their job left a long time ago. But those people all sucked at business, so there's no. This is basically the fall of Triple A in a nutshell, right? All of the people who had any talent whatsoever were crap at business, and so they ended up not making anything in the end. And all of the people who are good at business have no creative ability whatsoever. So you just get slop from all quarters, basically. But yeah, it's in the case of Genshin, they've been preparing for a long life cycle for a long time, and that's why there's so much, stuff in the lore. That's why they've got libraries and libraries of books. They aren't. I mean, for the guy that writes them, I bet it's a passion project, But the reason why they hire that guy is not to let him do his passion project. The reason they hire that guy is to seed a zillion plot lines into the game so that they will never run out. There's always going to be some other deep niche to explore that hasn't quite been dug into yet, because they're just constantly writing stuff into the game. They don't seriously expect that the majority of the player base is going to read the hundreds of pages of text that they've embedded in all of those books. Some people do, most people don't. And if there's one thing Gacha predominates on, it's making money by leveraging most people against few people, and few people against most people. That's what the whole business model is, right? You need the critical mass to get the whales to play the game, but the whales pay for the game. So the justification for their creative writing comes from the autists who know the lore, explaining that to the people who don't know the lore, that, oh, actually this makes sense. This isn't them feeding you a line of bullshit. If you actually go and play this bit and read this article and look at this book and this item description, everything makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
Perfect sense.
the lore hounds also will just because Genshin has seeded so much junk, even if it only kind of sort of tangentially related to what the heck they were going for, like, yeah, it'll work. We can
There's
build
a good
on it.
amount of plausible deniability in there. Like, it was a real, it was a topic a lot of people felt extremely strongly about for some reason. Columbina's characterization. Mainly, it was the Yuritards who were mad about this, though there were a lot of people who were mad about it. That they had determined in their, their head canon, a word I despise, because it's like reality TV. It's an oxymoron. If it's only in
Yes.
your head, then it's not canon. But they were mad that Columbina was not some sort of malevolent eldritch horror,
She's kind of a
because
troll,
that's,
but that's about it.
yeah, I think she's a troll in a very fairly innocent kind of way. Like, she
Mm.
just happens to know this one thing that will turn Sandrone's crank, no pun intended, and so she just uses it over and over again because that's the length of her social understanding.
It is a fun crank to pull, admittedly.
Yeah, because she's tsundere as heck, she falls for it every single time.
Yes.
But they had interpreted the material that was in the game concerning Columbina as meaning that she was like this terrifying entity that everybody was afraid of, and that she presented to the world this sort of very low key, uh, sort of somber mask of a personality, but the reality was not like that at all. She was actually, this eldritch horror type being. And they had sort of built an elaborate series of beliefs around this thing that they had essentially completely made up. But if you look at what was said about Columbina in context, understanding that this is an interpretation that some people have, and also in the context of who she actually is, you find that you can actually, if you want to be charitable about it, interpret things in line with either of them. Like, if they had gone with the eldritch horror angle for whatever reason, and that was the outcome that turned out to be correct, it wouldn't invalidate any of the things that were in the game. It wouldn't, the lines about Columbina in the past would not suddenly be inapplicable. They were just sort of like vague enough that they had still got creative room, even though they've had all these characters say specific things about Columbina in the past. It hadn't cut off any creative avenues for them. So what they did was make a marketable waifu, but if they had wanted to make an unnerving cosmic horror, they could have done that. There's enough room in what they had presented about her that they were permitted to do so. But knowing all of that, sort of, to some extent, diffuses the weight of a lot of the speculation, because it's like, yeah, you're speculating a bunch of stuff, and there's a bunch of stuff that is actually ostensibly black and white, but what does that mean? You don't actually really know. Like, people are extrapolating their theories, and that's fun to do. I do it in the privacy of my own head, but like it's extremely it's it's a bet that you don't want to make. You don't want to bet the farm on it. But unfortunately, and this is the part, this is the nub of it that really rankles me, is that all of the money in content creation is about betting the farm on things over and over again in the hopes that one day you'll be right, and then you can tell everybody I told you so and farm clout off of it. Is that clout economy thing winds me the heck up. It's like you're not actually producing content. You're making a bet against law futures. This is a financial investment. Like, it really is, because their cloud is money, right?
Yep.
Cloud is dosh. And so when they speculate, they are actually making a financial investment that I'm going to be able to, if I go this far and make this much speculation, then provided I don't close myself off entirely, I won't lose all face if I'm wrong, and I can always say, oh, well, it was just speculation. But if it's right, then I knew everything all along because I'm a freaking genius, and I will farm this clout for weeks and weeks and weeks and turn that into real money via Twitter, etc., etc. So that it's the insincerity growing out of it really bothers me. But I mean, it's not like you can go to the internet looking for sincerity. Maybe once upon a time there might have been the odd person, but
that's a completely lost cause now.
Yeah, back before social media, back when we had just, individual websites for your niche interests, or the Reddits, or the MySpace, or the dig.com.
Before
before Zynga. Remember the blogging site Zynga?
No.
Yeah. No. That one might have been a US
I remember
only.
GeoCities though.
I had a GeoCities.
I think everyone had a GeoCities. And usually it was something incredibly dumb. But that's how a lot of people learn HTML.
Basically, Lantern Right is one of these outgrowths of law, fundamentally. This is a case of like a commercial decision. Now, it's a commercial decision that I am willing to 150% forgive, because I have been wanting my 5-star Ningguang since the year dot. And I finally have my 5-star Ningguang, because let's be real, that's what Tsubai is.
Yeah, but aren't you just now going to put her on the shelf?
Pardon?
Are you just going to put her on the shelf and look at her now?
No, she's like the main that I use for everything now, like Ningguang was before, because I basically have an updated Ningguang that is powerful enough to survive the current environment. Whereas the old Ningguang, like I still busted her out now and again. I played I played most of early Nod Cry and sort of a lot of Natlan and that, using to the extent that you could. Natlan was a bad place for anybody who wasn't a Natlan character. It was a very bad design flaw in my opinion. But I used Ningguang a lot up until basically the latest patch, where it became really, really untenable, because she was now in one-shot zone for a lot of regular mobs, because her HP and defense is just so low and her output is not fast enough to close the battle before she dies. So things would just go wrong a lot, and that became too tiresome, so I couldn't really use her anymore. But Tsubai basically is a solution to that. She's still, a Geo character who more or less looks the same as Ningguang. Plays differently, but is still like offensive Geo reaction based type of game logic. This is an entirely commercial decision on Hoyo's part, though, because this is just basically the situation. We need a Lantern Right character. Who are we going to pull out of the box? Oh, we've got this moon related lore that we haven't used yet. Let's just pull it out and do a little expansion on it. And it gets you coming and going, because number one, it aligns with extant lore enough to please the lore hounds, and number two, it opens up some boxes that they can go through, because when you introduce a character who is sort of like high-ish tier in the celestial hierarchy, then the Lorehound's next obsession is how do we actually fit her into the hierarchy? Like where does she sit relative to everybody else? And they can talk about this forever. It's like what exactly is her role? Who's she taking her marching orders from? Who is she giving her marching orders to? How much latitude did she have? How what part of the cosmology is she related to, and how long has this part of the cosmology been in place? Like you can spend a lot of time poring over the fine details now that you've got another piece to build puzzle around. So yeah, it's a very workable commercial decision when your fundamental influence is we need a Chinese themed character for Chinese New Year.
Yep.
And this is what the Genshin lore toolbox is all about, right? Because they just had to look into it to find something they could pull out, and they found something almost immediately. So
Yep.
yeah, but I got completely and utterly reamed pulling for her. Not the worst it's ever been, because I had a couple of early losses, but I did still categorically have 100% losses. Like I lost every coin flip.
If you lose early, I call that a win.
No, you don't, because you're one of those people who get early wins, actual wins, as opposed to people like me who don't even know what that looks like. Not as early as Serathis, perhaps, or better yet, our own Fenurian, who
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have to pull more than twice for anybody, except if he makes his intentions clear beforehand.
Yes, if I actually want the character, then I will have to pull it. If I don't really care, I'll just pull it.
Like if Fern's 5-star to pull ratio must be one of the most insane in the world. Like I'm talking globally.
Possibly, yes. The trick is to genuinely not care.
I mean, sometimes, one time when I thought Nailu was gonna totally screw me over, she wound up coming double on the very last pull that was hard pity after losing.
Every now and again, the gacha will throw you a bone,
That was
I don't know what that
or a
looks
very
like.
big bone in that case.
I get the sort of bone powder that gives you lung cancer.
Joy.
But yes,
Using
I went like
burn team
120,
on
130 on character and weapon, but it's done now, and I'm not intending to pull on the next patch. So we're back in saving mode.
only Varka didn't have a penis.
Yeah, I still wouldn't be playing Prime. I've never really enjoyed playing Swirl all that much. It's like as a mechanic, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like it makes intuitive sense, but I can't work out how you turn any of that intuitive sense into damage.
They had to.
That's not very clear.
I don't actually know a thing about what he does because I don't look at the tweeters.
Well, he's an emo character, so it's going to involve Swirl in some way.
Yeah, but when it comes to, I didn't even know he was an Aminamino character. I hadn't even looked at his model.
He's like the Mondstatter.
I mean, yeah,
is like Mondstadt, Mr. Mondstadt.
yeah, but I mean, Natlan's supposedly the nation of fire and only has one fire character.
That's a point.
They put all their fires in one basket. So, but it would be a bit different if Mavwika wasn't a fire character. But I mean, you can't. It's not like you can rely on Barbatos to be the head honcho, can you?
I mean, he's very good at doing what Mondstadt is best known for:
Drinking.
in the bar,
Drinking.
all day,
Yeah.
every day.
I mean, when he actually gets off his ass and gets his Archon on, he's hell on wheels. But getting him to that point just doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, that's been sort of like a running theme in Mondstadt lore of late, that there's going to be an upcoming situation very soon where he's going to have to play for keeps instead of basically dicking around the way he usually does. But
Lantern Right,
but
why
yeah,
do you hate
the
my primary team that I've got built is a burn team, and everything in the combat event is pyro.
it do be that way, Mr. Stancil.
Yes.
But yeah, so the performance of my Tsubai team is like categorically just worse than my Skirk team and my Nefer team. Not that I care terribly much, and this is largely due to the simple fact that there's not really a good clean team design. Like there's not really an optimal team to aim for Tsubai yet. There's something wrong with all of them in like little ways. Like if you, unless you're one of those people who molds until you play perfectly without needing a healer, you kind of do need a healer, and there are no suitable healers. Like the best option is Fishwife, and
Right.
that's a really old character that they don't have a lot of occasion to make money off of anymore. So a lot of this, and you know, you can, if you put that healer in, you're sacrificing a slot, which might be something else, because let's just say Fishwife is not the best damage support in the world. It's not like she doesn't offer anything, but
He puts
her
jellyfish
contribution to the
down,
team is,
it makes things wet, and that's it.
yeah,
Moist.
her contribution is mostly the moistening.
Oh, is
But
that what I'm doing? Ah, I am so dumb.
Are you? Have a moment?
Yeah, I just figured out what I've been doing wrong with the combat event.
not
Because again,
following the
my
rules.
main well, yeah, but also my main driver is Kaniche. You get significantly less coins by using your elemental attack than you do by using physical.
Oh, it'll
Kaniche
depend.
does not do physical attacks
No, it's normal attacks. It's
or normal
normal
attacks.
attacks. If there were damage is not classed as normal damage, like that was my highest scoring one because all of Skirk's damage is classed as normal damage,
Yeah.
basically in one
So
of her
I,
forms.
which means I need to headline with my week. Yes. Why you do these things, Hoyo?
I mean, they will do that. Although with Mavwika, I don't know if her bite counts as normal attack damage.
I think it counts as a charge attack.
I don't know if that
Well,
counts
just
for the event.
it's best to take the hint from whatever they offer to rent you for what you should
Yeah, that's
use.
Nouvelette.
I
Just
can't.
take him.
Yeah,
Just
take
take him.
Just take Nouvelette.
You don't need any support for Nouvelette. Just take him and hold down the charged attack button.
stick a second Hydra on the team, and you're good to go.
Well, yeah, I think the actually let me get. I
Oh,
think the two suggested for this first round is Nouvelette and Farina.
yeah, just do
Just
that.
take him. Just take him. Just take the
Yeah,
hint.
it is
There's a
fine.
why is there a barrier around?
I mean, you
I'll just
could
take
just
the best
mold
round.
over it using a different comp until you get there, but you're just borrowing trouble at that point. If you don't have something like I do, like Skirk immediately suggests itself in that context. But if you don't have something that immediately suggests yourself, you're just borrowing trouble.
Yeah, like I think
Yeah.
it just did Navia for that. Navia doesn't do a lot of auto attack damage, but
I
with
feel so
that,
dirty though using Nouvelette.
yeah, he is Nouvelette,
He is Nouvelette.
only character in the game that can beat the game by himself.
Yeah, this is significantly better. I've just been making things difficult on myself because I don't read apparently.
Yeah, the trial characters are strong enough. It seems like they can get you the score you need for the primos.
That's all I want.
But yeah, so the logic that follows from this is that one of the upcoming characters, like the new Fae character Linnea, for instance, is going to be a geo support of some kind, so that Tsubai as a prospect seems a bit more stable. Other than that, you're basically obliged to try and get yourself built Iluga working, and I don't really think that that's suitable. Even if I wanted to build him, that's not really suitable for the characters that I have available to me at the moment. Because he's basically just a pocket buff for Tsubai and serves no other utility in a team, meaning that you're basically sacrificing a slot for a buff, which is good. It'll get her damage up there, yeah, but that slot is usually the one you use to put your sustain in. So yeah, without Fishwife, that comp kind of starts to fall apart. You could use Barbara, I guess, at risk of getting frozen all the time, or whatever, because that do happen when you put Barbara in your team.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
and now I've disconnected from the server. That explains why everything stopped working.
Speaking of, how's your Wooba going?
That's a good question. My Wooba is... Oh, let's finish the Steam section of the download. Which means now I've got the in-game version of the download to do.
Oh, let me get Cartwheel
But,
out.
I wasn't aiming for this, by the way. This was just coincidentally where we ended up.
I know. I was just following you on the bike, and I'm like, oh, purple thing.
I've been bouncing from Gammoth to Gammoth across the map. But yeah, so there's the team works very well. Like it's outputting good damage, but it's like it's not peak. It doesn't quite slot together perfectly, but it works tolerably well, and it lets me play a character that I like. I did really come to like Tsubaya throughout the quests. She's a bit of a lunatic, obviously. I liked all of the Zubayas really. I particularly like Autism Tsubai.
You're gonna have to be way more specific.
Math Autism Tsubai.
Oh, because as like Zubaya made it into the game and not wound up in the glue factory, but her brain, according to Paimon anyway, definitely, unfortunately, got sent straight to the slime factory. Golly, Chisa makes Cartwheel hit so hard. You know,
for it, I don't know how the math works.
You know when I can actually hit stuff.
Yes. But yeah, so I like the Tsubais. I think they all have their own charm. Smug Tsubai, Grumpy Tsundere Tsubai, Math Autism Tsubai, who for some reason was completely able to suck Paimon into her pace. Her
Because
pace being a very slow one down a road that is nowhere near where you're trying to head.
because Zubaya is Paimon's girlfriend, not yours.
Evidently. But yeah, so I like her well enough, and she's going to probably semi-permanently disappear from the plot for like another year.
Sounds
They
about
bring
right.
Cloud Retainer back a lot, but I think that the highlight of this is Mooncarver and Mountain Shaper.
It's always your boys. The boys are always
It
there
is.
as the best part of the Lantern Right quests. The Goober Squad is here to this time go spread mint.
They sure are. And it is very strange, but very, very entertaining. I think I don't know what it sounds like in the English. I've never heard their English voices, but the incredible pomposity of the Japanese voice acting is just it's magnifique. It's wonderful.
They're
The English tries to bring that through, but yeah, not quite as much.
I think they're pretty well perfect in English.
They're still pompous idiots, but yeah.
I think the Mooncarver and Mountain Shaper hit their notes perfectly whenever they show up. Like,
Just wish they show up more often.
Well, the thing with those two guys is you only wheel them out occasionally. If you make them regulars, they lose their fun.
It'll get very old very
Yeah,
quickly.
you'd lose it.
But the what part of what makes it funny is that they're these sort of like incredibly highfalutin, basically cultivation farmers in every sense of the word, who have got a rather high opinion of themselves, and to some extent justifiably so, and they only come down off of their mountain or out of the woods or whatever now and again,
To do
and
dumb goober shit.
it's the collision of the sort of the cultivation maniac demigod with the real world, and the fact that they just cannot function, which is what makes it funny.
Well, they spend most of their life sitting around contemplating themselves, basically.
That is
So, yeah.
the cultivation slop way of life.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, the next elephant is miles away. I'll take a shortcut.
Gotta find where you went to chase heffalumps. Takes a while for
Keep
your
calling
thing
them
to update.
gammoths, and I keep thinking the Monster Hunter version.
Well, they're gammoths, so I don't know what to tell you.
They're really big heffalumps.
I mean, that's Monster Hunter Gammoth as well, so yeah.
They're robot heffalumps.
Okay, not so much robot, but yeah.
Yeah, it's basically a Horizon Zero Dawn, but without all of the Horizon Zero Dawn in it.
That would make for a much better game, honestly. Anyway.
Anyway, we'll leave that on the shelf for a while, because I don't have much else to say about Genshin without going, further into the story. But there's not really much story to go further into, to be honest. It's basically just like, it's like we want to do. We want to do the Mavwika tour thing again, except we want to do it in an actually context appropriate environment this time, and basically make sure that the Paimon voice actress doesn't feel shortchanged because they had no lines in the last Archon quest compared to Traveler. But yeah, we'll leave that one there. I haven't played much of Arknights this week, basically because I've been busy doing other things. It hasn't grabbed me as much as the other gachas that I play do. It does have its merits, but like, even though every gacha starts off on a slow burn as far as story is concerned, like whether they are good or bad, they always start off slow. Are those stuck in the ice? Oh.
I saw a cube where we were going, so I took a detour.
Whether they end up good or bad, they always start off slow. That seems to be sort of just kind of a truism. But in Arknights, I feel like it's a little bit too slow. And from what I've heard, most of the good content is in the character stories, not really in the main story. But I've heard that the part that I'm still mired in, because I haven't been playing that much, I'm still mired in Valley 4, and apparently Valley 4 is just like not great from start to finish. I've accidentally turned on autopilot mode and I don't know how to turn it off. Here we go. Yeah, so I'm still stuck in Valley 4, and apparently Valley 4 is just like dull from start to finish. And it does seem to bank quite a bit on Arknight's lore. Like, it's not strictly true that you need to know it, but it trades so heavily on your preconceptions in certain ways that without knowing anything about Arknight's lore, without actually going and looking into it or looking at lore videos or whatever, there's a lot of stuff that's going to just be inaccessible. And I've seen complaints from people who do like the both games, like the classic Arknights and Arknights Enfield, that they aren't they're constantly making references to the previous game, but are not connecting the dots correctly. Like, they're leaving a lot of confusing messes in place, which kind of just make the references not make sense rather than just need more explanation. So yeah, it seems like, in their opinion, it's kind of still a bit untidy. But yeah, hadn't at any point committed to playing it, but I haven't changed that stance. Like, I thought that, there was a chance of me changing that position and deciding that I really liked it. I like a lot of individual elements of it, but the whole product hasn't really stuck with me as of yet.
Mm.
They did give out a free 6-star selector, which I didn't use because I'm scared to use it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Because I've pulled basically I've pulled 2 copies of Last Rite, and that's all the 6 stars I've got because my luck isn't any better in this game than in any other gacha game. So I only get dupes and I only get pity. But the thing with Last Rite, nothing wrong necessarily with Last Rite, but none of the other whatchamacallits, 6 stars apart from Ardelia, the free one that everybody already has, none of them mesh with her at all. So it would be a matter of whichever one I pick will be essentially part of building a new team. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Goodness knows Last Rite's not a very flexible build because the only thing you can do is Ungabunga damage. She's basically a sort of a Deluxe situation. But if I'm trying to build towards say physical, it's probably going to be like Pogger's Man or something is going to be the logical choice. Though it's sort of hard to say how impactful any of them are going to be in sort of the longer term. But yeah, I was originally wanting to pull for Yvonne because she reminded me of Liz, but all of the early talk about her is that there's something wrong with the way her kit's designed, and she's just unapplicable dog water in terms of actual use.
Mm.
Maybe it's just that everybody thinks that because the teams that people have tried at length don't work, and there's actually a team that does work, and it hasn't been popularized by content creators, therefore nobody knows about it. But yeah, at the moment it's looking like she's basically a non-entity. But I don't think I'm going to, at the rate that I'm playing the game, which is not very fast, I don't think that I'm going to get to the point where I'll even be able to pull in her banner as it is. And it could be that my interest in the game will tail off for a while until they've got a substantial amount of quality story that's been released, which is the case with Wuwa, because I played Wuwa at launch as well, and it just didn't have any latching point for me. It was the promise of Renashida that got me to come back to the game back when they had a hefty chunk of quality storytelling in place that people were confident was worth my time, and they say, okay, you come back now. Now is a good time to come back to Wuwa because there's a lot of really quality storytelling to sink your teeth into. And they're like, okay, I'll come back to Wuwa. And they were right. It was great. But it might be that for me, Arknight's Enfield needs some time on the shelf, and then we'll come back later and see how it goes. There's nothing. I don't feel like I'm really looking forward to anything. I can quite happily sit down and play it for hours, but it's hours of autism, which could be turned to any autistic pursuit. It's not like, oh, well, it actually has to be Arknights.
Yeah, like
If
if you just want to sit down and dick around with the factory, there's better games for that.
although I do value the sense of accrual that a gacha account has compared to a stage in a factory game, because whatever you manage to accomplish with your factory will always be in your gacha account. Like, that will build you toward the future in a way that a single player game doesn't, which is the tool that they use to get you to adopt the sunk cost fallacy. But
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very lukewarm on Arknights. There's nothing in particular about it that I deeply dislike, except for the complete inability to rebind controls. Well, nearly complete inability to rebind controls. You can like rebind things slightly in a way that doesn't help or matter.
When you told me that, that was the first clue. I'm never ever downloading this game until they at least fix
But
this.
they said in the patch drop where they gave out the selector that they were planning to introduce it in the future because they got so many complaints about it, basically.
Good.
You mean they didn't pull a
I don't know
Hideki
why.
Kamiya? What
I
the
don't. No, they
hell?
didn't pull a Hideki Kamiya. I don't know why so many games developers think that everybody uses the same control set and will just be happy with it. But it seems like a lot of them start out that way.
Yeah.
Then realize that,
It's
hang
like,
on, there's a lot of people out there who like different setups.
yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I'm used to certain ways of playing now. Like my gacha game controls are all very synchronized. I did the same thing with MMOs. Like I synchronized them as completely as possible. Wherever I have a button, like the taunt button is always the same button. It doesn't matter what game it's in, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially for things like taunt and interrupt and that. You don't want to move them to strange places. You want your muscle memory to always hit the right one. But then just saying, oh no, we don't think you need to rebind controls. It's like, in what world everybody
Yeah.
rebinds controls sooner or later? Unless there are people who just don't know how, I guess.
Yeah. I'm reminded of your boy Hideki Kamiya. What do you mean Bayonetta needs the ability to rebind controls? The default controls are just fine.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
in Hideki Kamiya world, like that's literally what he thinks to be true. Because if Hideki Kamiya likes it, then it's correct. It just
Never,
is.
never seen a game dev puff his own farts as hard as that boy. Maybe
It's
Uh,
it's a specialty.
like
Sakes,
it
to the
is.
Western world.
there
Just
are
stay off Twitter, otherwise that will shatter that illusion.
like there are plenty of ones that huff their own farts, but Kamiya has taken it to a career defining point that I cannot think of another one off the top of my head that has managed to pull the same degree of it.
I think I might have run out of gammoths.
Think you killed off my heffalumps?
I'm just gonna check.
Which, what did the heffalump population of my world ever do to you?
It's becoming quite difficult. Let's see. Yeah, detection target not found. There are no gammoths left on your planet.
You
We're
have
entirely
genocided
out
the
of.
gamma.
There's no gammoths left. We have totally run out.
They are extinct.
Inconvenient.
Yes. Now you got to change to the other world and do it there.
No, we can't. We can go
No,
kill
we can
your
just go
heffalumps.
for. We can just go for chronoblights instead. Although they're much more of a pain in the backside to fight. But yeah, so I haven't. It's a friendly gammoth. That's not what I'm looking for. I haven't completely given up on Arknights yet, but it's looking more likely. It's just not like luring me back to it necessarily.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. It just doesn't have the hook.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is that what would have made the difference about it, but yeah, it's just, it's still quite satisfying to wire up the zone. I like the fact that you can modify the zone where you play so much. That's kind of novel and interesting. But
Every time I
no,
looked over at the screen when you had it streaming that one time, all you were doing was wiring up the zone. I saw it combat like once.
but that's the fun part.
That's
Like,
the tism part.
like I saw you doing combat once. The rest of it was just you go into town on them wires.
It's the tism.
But yeah. Anyway, that's where that one is. Let's see. Oh man, I'm getting very few echo drops. I know I used up all of my bonus rate, but goodness me. Right. I will move on next to Star Rail. Now, in terms of playing Star Rail, there's nothing to play this week, but this is the last week, so they had their special program for promoting for patch 4.0 no aha at full moon, whatever that's supposed to mean. And every time I see Xiaoji's smirking face, I'm like, I remember you. You told me it was going to be a heartwarming story. Like
You lied.
first for Penacony, he said that it was going to be a light-hearted vacation story, and
I
then
mean,
and then for Amphorius, he said it was going to be a heartwarming heroic epic. I
Yeah.
mean, you could come up with a justification for those being correct descriptions. However, nobody feels that way about them. Anyway, so they're introducing patch 4.0, and this takes place in the world of Plan Acadia, which is basically, it's sort of like the Aha faithful homeworld, I guess. Like the majority of people who live on planet Arcadia are followers of Aha. They worship Aha. Most of them are adherents of Elation and its philosophies. A lot of them are Elation Pathstriders. It's just the way of life there. Kind of no game, no lifestyle. Most sort of conflicts and things are solved by playing games. The Basically the society is built around entertainment, and the fundamental currency of society on planet Arcadia is clout. Like, you build clout by being the most entertaining person, and that's worth its weight in gold. That's
Like an
the way
anime from the
everything
last
functions.
season. Yeah, there's an anime in the last season that basically used that as the power system. The more clout you had, the more power you had. But this, it's going to turn into some sort of hedonistic nightmare, isn't it?
I don't think, like, because the thing is that this is Aha's world, and Aha itself takes a personal interest in it, and will simply not abide things that are not entertaining.
Hmm?
So if it turns into a nightmare and nobody is having fun anymore, Aha wouldn't tolerate it, because
It'll
it has to
it'll
be
change things.
elating. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Aha has very Aha standards for what is entertaining, though. So that doesn't
Yes.
you're not necessarily going to be able to discern much from that. But at any rate, so Plan Arcadia is Himiko's original homeworld, is where she grew up. She went to school at the main academy on Plan Arcadia in Dimension City, which is called Dimension City for the reason that at one point somebody cough, almost certainly decided to squash it flat into a 2D image, just because.
For giggles.
Yeah, and it's now a normal city again, but it did go through a phase of its existence where it was a 2D city. But Yeah, it's basically Himeko grew up there. She went to school there, and you'll visit those places. Like, you'll visit Graphia Academy where she graduated and so on. She's never really clarified anything that really went on in her past, or why exactly she decided she was so off ski the second she had the opportunity. But yeah, so it's going to involve her past in some way, almost certainly. But the centerpiece for this particular story is going to be what are called the Phantasmoon games. The Phantasmoon games are basically when the Phantasmoon, which is basically the moon that is in the sky over Planet Arcadia, which is a sort of a pixelated sprite moon with glasses.
I saw that and looked really weird.
This was established by Aha personally as
Of course it was.
a form of entertainment, and basically it waxes to full every 30 to 50 years, and when the Phantasmoon is full, then the Phantasmoon games begin, and that's sort of like the Olympics of Planet Arcadia. And the rules are a little bit unclear at this stage because we don't know much about the story, but the gist of the thing is that there are 8 masks, and people will try and seize one of them by any means necessary. Doesn't really matter what you do, you just got to get your hands on one, and then if you get one of the 8 masks, you become one of the 8 supplicants, and the eight supplicants duel each other in whatever means they like. The Basically, the winner's metric is whoever gets the most attention. It doesn't really matter what you do or how you do it, provided that you get attention and that it's elating.
Huh.
Whatever that might mean. That's Aha's pretty loosey goosey about the rules.
And about just things in general, admittedly.
But the reward is that if you are the final winner out of the 8, you get to be Aha for 1 minute. You have the access to the full scope of Aha's powers, so it's basically a limited wish.
Huh.
The thing is that most people wish silly, or not at all, or badly. And Aha, to some extent, gets to interpret the wish. Sometimes he plays it straight down the line. Sometimes he will, rules lawyer it. Like one of them won the Phantasmoon games historically because they wanted to destroy Aha. They wanted to kill Aha, and so they ascended to the seat of Aha and then tried to use Aha's power to kill Aha. And Aha's like, "Yeah, but you just became Aha,
You're Aha
so,
now.
so you're
Here,
toast.
here,
Enjoy."
hold this monkey's paw.
But yeah, so that's the objective is to become Aha for a minute. And basically the competing factions and the abnormality of this, and I commented on this in chat on our Discord, is that this, for some reason, this cycle is triggered only 15 years after the last cycle, when it's normally about more like 50, and this is an unexplained occurrence, speculatively based on the things various other characters in the setting have said, is because of the amount of hoo-ha over the war against Iron Tomb has basically made Aha feel like he wasn't getting enough spotlight.
Yeah, maybe. Also, here comes this trash panda, which is thoroughly insane.
Right, so the Astral Express is what is headed there basically to try and participate in the Phantasmoon games, ostensibly. It turns out that Astral Express is a really popular media IP on Planet Arcadia.
Is that why we have the wacky inflatable arm bosses?
Basically. And like it's not like the Astral Express literally, although there you will see their images on billboards and that, like they are popular. They're like really popular, especially because the Astral Express navigators are native. But like there's a really popular manga on Planet Arcadia, which is basically the furry version of the Astral Express. Like, of course, our favorite trash bandit is a raccoon.
Because of course she.
But they're all basically little fluffy animals. There's little fluffy animals on the Astral Express having adventures, and this is like the most popular manga at the moment, sort of thing.
Don Hunger Crocodile.
I can't remember what he was.
Something bland.
They do discuss it in the preview. I can't remember what they were, but the commentary being in Mr. Yang is Mr. Yang.
I was about to say
he's still just Mr. Yang.
They just they ask why. It's like, well, Mr. Yang's always Mr. Yang. So, but yeah, so they are kind of celebrities, even if they've never been there. Most of them, they're kind of celebrities on Planet Arcadia. Also, they say that Sparkle's going to be a significant part of the plot, and this time she's working with the Astral Express directly. Of course, one of the hosts contends that Sparkle is always on our side because she has a heart of gold. Just debatable, but everyone loves Sparkle. Because basically Sparksy is in opposition to her, and the phenomenon at work here is gleefully not explained by any of the show hosts. But basically Sparkle and Sparksy are two different people and also the same person. But Sparkle and Sparksy do not appear to be aligned with each other. Sparksy being basically the hottest streamer on Planet Arcadia right now, and therefore an expert clout farmer, which means everything on Planet Arcadia. So she seems to be positioned as sort of like patch 1 antagonist type position, where she's definitely not going to be like the ultimate baddie, but she's sort of like the catalyst to get the story running, type of thing. And of course, lots of factions are showing up for the Phantasmoon games. The Stellaron Hunters are sending Silverwolf, who'll basically be in her natural environment. This will be the first time Silver Wolf is sort of like acting as something other than support, and so we'll get to see what she's really capable of, hopefully, because she's never had to play for keeps before. She's never really been that interested, always providing, supporting material from the sidelines. But this is like her in her element. She's a gamer and a reality hacker, and everything about playing Arcadia is about gaming and manipulating reality. So we'll find out how she managed to get her bounty. And they also sent Blade, who is the most fish out of water individual I can imagine on a world like this, because he just wants to die. That's what he would find more entertaining than anything else.
Just wants to give Castros a nice big high five.
But yeah, so the IPC will be sending people. Technically speaking, Planet Arcadia exists within IPC's domain, like it's in their territory. So Pearl of the 10 Stonehearts is the local administrator of the IPC. She basically runs Planet Arcadia now, because Planet Arcadia, well, it required IPC funds to recover after the two-dimensional incident. They had to sort of rebuild. But so yeah, Pearl is the head honcho there. And yeah, so there's going to be various characters from various places are all going to show up, etc., etc. But yeah, this is just for part 1 of the story. They said that part 2 of the story later in the year takes place in Astropolis, which is basically the hub of the IPC's entertainment division. It was built, if I recall the lore correctly, Astropolis was actually built as a result of one of the outcomes of the Phantasmoon games in the past, where I think somebody decided to make everybody really, really upset, just because, and this created market demand for entertainment. So the IPC built the entertainment hub there. But yeah, anyway. So they also mentioned various things about the new characters. Most of that stuff is aligned with what we had expected already, and the Nova Flares for Sparkle and Black Swan, which have remained more or less as we expected from stuff from closed beta testing. The banners have been sort of jumbled up a bit because of the delays. So what was originally supposed to be the case was based on inference, not that they've ever admitted this, since admitting you've made a change in plans is just not the done thing. Originally, it looks like Sparksy was supposed to be the launch character for the first phase, and then Yaguang was meant to be in the second phase. But because they want Yaguang to align with Chinese New Year, they've bumped her up to the first phase and then made her banner specifically will be available throughout 4.0. The reason being that she's pretty much useless on launch because there's no elation characters to support. So you can pull her if you just want to get her and build her and have her ready, but she can't do very much of anything because she kind of needs an elation sort of damage hose to power. And that's Sparksy. And Sparksy's not going to be available till the second half.
Okay, they're not going to throw Elation Trailblazer at you early on?
Elation Trailblazer, based on leaks, is penciled in for 4.2, the anniversary.
Right.
Like, Harmony Trailblazer came out really late in the Penacony cycle as well, so that's not really that surprising. Plus, they wouldn't want to bring it out too early because Remembrance Trailblazer is still like super critical to a lot of people's team builds. Because Remembrance Trailblazer is like one of the best universal sports in the game right now. So they don't really want to just gut that out of people's toolkit too early in order to use the character, because if their message and selling it is like, oh yeah, you can play these characters but you're going to have to use Elation Trailblazer, to a lot of people it's going to be like, you want me to disable my best team? I just won't pull then. So yeah. So Yaoguang is going to be available throughout all of 4.0, and Sparksy will be available starting the second half, looks like the layout is. So I'm expecting that their first half revenues are not going to be that high, probably. But that may not be the case because they're running a triple banner alongside each of them. So first half banner, triple banner is Evernight, Hysalin's Black Swan. So basically, Evernight has some of the most powerful Eidolons in the game, and is just going to massively soup up anybody running the Remembrance team or Evernight Hyper Carry. So that's going to be at least somewhat in demand. Hysalin's is, of course, the damage source for Dot, the main damage source for Dot, and Black Swan is sort of like the secondary damage source for Dot, and is getting a Nova Flare. So there's a reasonable amount of demand built in there. It's a good way of laying it out from a commercial perspective because they're all high demand characters at this point, to some extent at least, either because of the Nova Flare or because they're just powerful in general, which means that they're probably going to present a more tantalizing option to pull than Yaoguang, because Yaoguang won't do anything at launch, which is not strictly true, but it's true enough. Like, there's going to be no, unless they come up with some really impressive shilling, there's going to be no launch Yaoguang team. It's just not really a thing. So the other ones are likely to get pulls, and then when Yaoguang becomes relevant, people will have their Stellar Jade pouch empty. So commercially, it's a good move. Second half is going to be Sparksy, and on the triple banner will be Saridra, Sparkle, who's getting her Nova Flare, and Rapper, who's finally getting a comeback. Because the only people in the world who own Rapper are me and Fern.
Yeah. Admittedly, she's like the backbone of my current team.
She is a
But-
really, really good character for Super Break in sort of like erudition formats, like where hitting lots of targets is good. Like, she's just a really, really solid Super Break character across the board, which is why I pulled her. I pulled her because not because I was totally in love with her character, although I do find her entertaining, but because she was just a really useful character to have and got me through a lot of rounds of endgame. But when she came out, the usual suspects were referring to her as Flopper, saying she was a flop. Nobody would pull her. She's going to be totally irrelevant. And then people have just been begging them to bring her banner back ever since, because it turned out she wasn't a flop. Turned out
No,
she's
she
actually
hits like
really good Super
on a
Breaker
Super Break
edition,
team. She hits like a truck.
and she shares an element with Imaginary Trailblazer, which is good both for the sake of Imaginary Trailblazer and weaknesses, and because that it gives her more access to Dahlia's abilities as well. I have extreme difficulty getting Rapper to work in a lot of contexts, though, if you don't have the opportunity to start combat, because Dahlia has two buff methods to decide where her dance partner will get attached, and it will be either to the character who has the highest break, or it will attach to the character who starts the combat. So usually starting the combat is the way you pick, but the thing is that because Rapper converts attack into break, her start of combat, like prior to start of combat, break is not that high. And so it keeps attaching to Fugue instead, which is a huge pain in the neck because Fugue's a support. But she supports by donating her break ability. So her break is really, really high. So yeah, it's perhaps they didn't think that one through all the way. It's a pain in the neck. But yeah, so they're also releasing new trace materials, Elation ones, of course, for the two new Elation characters, and a hunt material, which will be for Ash Vale, which is coming out in 4.1, and Ascension mats for Lightning Element, which is also for Ash Vale, since Ash Vale's Lightning Hunt. How they're going to sell a male hunt character in 2026, I'm interested to see. Because Hunt Star has not been ascendant for a long time because there's so few contexts in which it's relevant. So maybe they're just going to bring out a really demonic single target anomaly arbitration or something.
Yeah, a character that can point at a single target and say, delete that.
But whatever
Yeah,
helps
Numby.
Ash Vale will probably also help Aglaya. So because unless they just decide to give everybody weakness install, it will help Aglaya anyway, and that's not good for them commercially, let alone game design wise. They are releasing two new relic sets, which are pretty clearly by sort of like graphic design earmarked for Sparksy and Yaoguang, and they are bringing that split battlefield mechanic in as a mechanic for certain fights. Like they previewed a boss fight where basically the boss will grab one character and shove them in another dimension where they have to fight by themselves, and that dimension, as it were, becomes a target on the field, and characters from outside the battle can basically interact with that to buff the character or help the character in some way, or fight the main battle going on outside. So yeah, they're playing with more of those things. They previewed a bunch of mini games because Plan Arcadia is sort of like an entertainment based world, so there's a bunch of mini games. It seems like they're just spending a lot of time dicking around with platforming mini games and that, which is something that, like, well, you have to see whether or not it's executed in a way that is reasonably pleasant or whether it's executed in a way that's horribly annoying, and we won't know until it's actually on the ground. They're also inserting sort of like a mini CCG, but they seemed to be trying to imply very heavily that it wasn't going to be like the one in Genshin, in the sense that it's designed to be really fast. Like, you just play it, like it's got a few turns to completion, so it's probably very, very heavily luck based. But it was a mini game that's going to be put in there with like a card collection element to it as well. They're building in a sort of an event of sorts where you are trying to help a failing magazine publishing company on Plan Arcadia, which appears to be staffed entirely by raccoons. And that magazine publishing company also acts as sort of like a quest hub for, like, oh, these things are going on around Plan Arcadia, aka these are the side quests type of thing. Currency Wars is getting updated. They're adding Dahlia and Sparksy and Yaguang. Advantage of this is that this launches with 4.0, so before you pull, you have access to tool around with using both Sparksy and Yaguang from day one in Currency Wars, because you can use any character in Currency Wars. So they'll just give you a trial one. And they're adding some other mechanics as well that I don't fully understand, and the descriptions were too vague. Divergent Universe, it sounds like 4.0 is going to be the deadline, so the end of 4.0 is going to be the end of the current version of Divergent Universe, so time to basically hoover up all your leftover rewards in that rewards track. They're adding a few little quality of life things, like the daily assignment thing is no longer going to be like a fixed 20-hour block. It's going to be like you can interrupt it and gather them any time, sort of thing, and it will just sort of like run over an analog period of time, and you'll get proportional output, so that basically you don't have that situation where you don't want to claim because it's not quite rollover reset time yet, or you are ready to claim but there's like another hour left before it's done. They're trying to eliminate that. They are doing the thing which Genshin did, where you can see the unactivated relic prefixes. So if you know that the third stat is going to be flat defense, you can just chuck it in the bin without having to dump any EXP into it. Where was I? What else did they add? Oh, the add a support from your friends list to your team thing is going to be adapted to, you can chuck it into any slot in your team. It doesn't always have to be the 4th slot. They're adding white noise tracks to the train phonograph. I'm surprised that there are people who were asking for that. But I guess there must have been. If you just, want to listen to the sound of the rain, I guess.
You were tired of hearing about how you're weak like the reeds. I've left that song on since Highest Cinema peak moment.
I always leave it back on the default. Sometimes I'll change it for a little while to listen to another song, but I'll always put it back to the default because it just kind of feels like the right music for the Astral Express now.
The right music for the Astral Express is Yakety Sax.
I mean, yeah,
Perhaps.
true.
Based on some of the things that take place in the event where you construct your bedroom, then that's certainly the case. So then Darway came on, who is basically going to be introducing the gifts, the free stuff for launch. So the standard gifts are present. So the ones like when they have a major version drop, they give you 10 tickets, 3 resins, 600 of the anomaly arbitration stardust. Usual gift of Odyssey is there. Things that are particular to this version are Ryan May's getting a new costume, which is fine with me. I don't know if I think it's actually nicer than her original one. I do like her original one a lot. Like, Ryan May was the character that got me to start playing Star Rail because I decided that she was too pretty not to have. So I started playing the game, which is the worst reason possible, but I don't really care. So everybody gets that one just for logging in, I believe. And since Run May can be bought in the store for tokens, anybody can theoretically use it. There is a sort of a 5-day Chinese New Year red packet event type thing where you'll get some Stellar Jade once a day for 5 days, and it totals up to something like 1,600, I think. Supposedly there's a tiny probability that when you open one, instead of getting 1,600 Stellar Jade, they'll just give you 100 gold tickets, which would be nice. Maybe RSD will get it. I can't imagine getting it. They're also adding to the game some new accessories. So they're adding a red variant, sort of Chinese New Year theme variant of the standard Trailblazer outfit, which can be purchased for Stardust from the Stardust store. A headband with Sparksy sort of like rabbit and mushroom motif on it from the Stardust store. There's a raccoon mask that you can get just from gameplay. A little Wispe accessory thing, which is one of the little creatures that roams around Planet Arcadia. A hair accessory thing that you can get from an event. And the one that is for cash is, of course, the best one. It's, that sort of, how do I describe that? Sort of the loading symbol that's sort of asterisk shaped and rotates around. You know the thing I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get that as an accessory, which is just like hovers near Trailblazer's head at all times.
You mean it's not already there?
Well, it's not explicit, but now it will be.
And now it will be. There's
No,
nothing
because
going on in that head.
Because this is the best one, it is the one that comes from purchasing a bundle, but they didn't announce what bundle it would be attached to. So, anyway,
So
and the
you might have
final,
to cop up a couple of bucks for that one.
yeah, we'll see what they do with it. The final thing they announced is the free 5-star selector official list, and the official list is the same as most of the ones that people converged on by the end of the CBT period. The options being Jingyuan, Kafka, Imbiber to Lune, Qingliu, Sparkle, Acheron, and Aventurine. So, lots of good options. The developers clearly like Jingyuan, although he's fallen off now. Kafka is the driver for Dot, so if you run Dot, having Kafka is basically necessary, and having her E1 is extremely good. Imbiber to Lune needs help badly, but I don't see why they wouldn't think about giving him a Nova Flare in future. I can't remember if he was on the short list. Did I record that somewhere? The shortlisted Nova Flares for, because they're planning to launch 4 Nova Flares in the anniversary. I know Huohuo was one of them, but I don't remember what the other ones were.
But Wobo's the only one that matters. She's best girl.
Mr. Taylor's.
Mr. Tail is best girl. Sometimes it takes a real man to be best girl.
Yes.
No, I can't find it in a quick moment. Jingliu is still usable for people who like Jingliu, since her Nova Flare makes her solid. She's not going to be a meta team ever, I don't think, unless they go back to the old school hyper carry, but she's still very solid. Sparkle is going to be extremely sought after immediately after her Nova Flare because they've made her way more generic as a support. She's not like constrained to skill points only and nothing else unless it's quantum. She's gained quite a bit of flexibility. Probably not enough to dethrone Sunday, but probably competing with Sunday. Acheron is good if you just want to murder overworld mobs really quickly, I guess.
For Fern, he doesn't have a trash deleter.
No.
You might consider getting Acheron, if only to use her the way I used her going through content while my account was young. And that,
As a janitor.
yeah, pretty much. She is the trash janitor.
Yeah.
And you can...
My account is still on the Lofu, so...
Yeah, that's...
I'm a ways off.
The loaf was the best place to use her, TBH.
Yeah, Lofu, and when you get to Pinacone, and you're running on walls and ceilings, and there's trash everywhere, and every time you get in a fight, the camera resets, and you're like,
Ugh.
oh, where did I just get... No, Acheron fixes all of that.
No.
Just do an
An
Acheron.
industrial-sized container of trick snacks fixes that.
Yeah, you'll need about 800 trick snacks, but they're really cheap. So
I've got like 5,000.
Get a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, like anytime the weekly pops up, make something synthesizer. It's always trick snacks.
But and Aventurine, of course, for those people who want Aventurine. Aventurine's a lot less relevant now that most people have Permanent whether or not Fern logged on in time to get Permanent is another question, but
I did not.
But yeah, so good selections, not premium selections, but they wouldn't give premium ones. I think personally I'll probably go for Kafka because I actively use Dot all the time, and her E1 is just really powerful for Dot teams. Literally useless for anything else. Sparkle is also tempting. Like for somebody who's actually got meta teams, the best ones are probably Kafka and Sparkle. Acheron is just not doing too well right now. Aventurine is not redundant to Permanent but like not necessary now that everybody's got access to Permanent. Imbiber de Luna needs help badly. Jingyuan probably won't get any more help. It's sort of reached the end of his lifespan. Jingli won't get any more help. But for people who just want to collect those characters, it's a good thing because nobody's really going to want to invest more Stellar Jade in pulling Imbiber de Luna, even if they really like him. So, yeah. And then the last thing that they did was preview their Fortnite crossover, which does anybody really care? Fortnite, really?
Fortnite.
Really? But yeah, that was pretty much the long and short of it. They were sort of very vague about a lot of things, except they seemed incredibly enamored of the mini games that they were adding. So I guess a lot of Planarcadia's success will be how obnoxious are any mandatory mini games they force you to participate in. Because if they're obnoxious, then the whole world is going to end up sucking. But they have pivoted on these things when they've introduced them and made them too mandatory, and everybody hated it. So if they don't do a good job, they will probably just get out the necessity of it. And they said that they're going to include a cheat mode for them, for people who just absolutely don't want to have to put in any effort whatsoever, so that they don't actually lose Stellar Jades because they have to do something hateful. Not sure how I feel about that. I'd rather that people just made good content rather than make content that people hate and then a way to skip it. But you can't have everything.
I'm reminded of Carlotta's. I'm writing down the puzzle solution, counting them chandeliers or whatever it was, and then in the quest text. Next objective. That's what this is giving me vibes of.
I have a feeling that this is almost entirely a product of the Western Gacha community because their IQ just seems to be so much lower. Because the only thing that they're interested in is like gooning, basically. Well, even that's not fair. It's the people who aren't who are vocally opposed to the gooning who are the worst, because they're the ones who are constantly talking about, sexualizing their politics and politicizing their sexuality. And this is what gacha gaming is about, apparently. But they seem to be so just sort of staggeringly dumb and such loud complainers that whenever something truly asinine gets implemented, my instinct is to just blame the Western gacha community. Because everything they ask for seems to be completely retarded.
I guarantee the East is just as dumb in their own unique and special way. People are different in all parts of the worworld, and they may even think different.
But the East has a much higher propensity to want to save face. The dumbness is not the question. The question is the tendencies. And in the West, people tend to not care about saving face compared to being weighted on hand and foot. And in the East, people don't want to do something like use a cheat button that's presented to you if it would cause them to lose face. So, like, by contrast, they don't consider spending lots of money on a gacha game to be a form of cheating. They just say, oh no, spending money for E6 is a form of skill. It's just skill applied to a different area of life, but that counts perfectly well. Whereas just being allowed to cheat is not something that's not something that's not quite as popular, because you didn't do anything, and it causes you to look like a retard. So the psychologies are very, very different between the two groups. And to be totally honest, despite the fact that the Japanese and the Chinese and the Koreans all hate each other, the Japanese, Chinese, and Korean gacha communities are all united in hating EN. Specifically EN. Not even the Spanish speaking or German speaking or French speaking portions of the community. Specifically the EN. Specifically the ones coming out of America. Because they bring California politics with them. Ain't nobody likes that shit. Anyway. Next on the ledger. ZZZ. I can't say anything about ZZZ because Ari hasn't done it yet. The only thing I've done is the story. I haven't touched any of the other stuff, and there's quite a few things on the docket. I don't know what most of them are because, you know, they give Baroque names to the events without describing them on the front page, so I don't know which one is just the regular old combat event and which one requires me to do stuff. But it looks like they have, again, put in the rhythm game with most of the songs, the promotional EPs, including Standing Up from the Toilet.
What?
Oh, the Banyue song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the stages I saw in the preview.
I guess Fern must have been absent this week when I mentioned this. I had to demonstrate for Vol by sending in the music video. In DJ Max, they do not have a lot of budget for music videos throughout various points in its life cycle. And one of them, they had to make a music video for a song. And it's literally just a robot standing up from a sitting down position. And the way it's edited makes it look like he's standing up and bouncing on the can. And the top comment on the video used to be, me and the boys after visiting Taco Bell.
Yeah, okay, fair point.
You've been elucidated.
Where this comes into ZZZ is that Ari decided that this was very much like Banyue's image song that they promoted him with.
It had a very similar type of CG art style. Obviously,
I can sort of see where he's coming from, but it's not a very flattering comparison.
No.
Like, there's more going on in the Banyue video, but the CG art style is very close.
It's, yeah, I can see the vibe. I do get it, but it just seems like it's mean to make that comparison somehow. He never asked for this. Well, maybe he did because the song is called "I Ask." But I will put it in the live show chat.
I will.
Ari can scout the toilet robot and put that in the live show chat as well. But yeah, as far as generalities go, it's a perfectly fine interlude story. It was running quite smoothly up until towards the end, and then it sort of ran aground upon the rocks. And the vibe that I got off of it was that they had removed a couple of short scenes to try and reduce the runtime of the whole quest, because I did get a couple of times I got a little bit of Return of the King from it, in the sense that I thought that it was about to end and then it didn't, and just carried on for another stanza. And then I thought it was going to end and then it didn't, and it carried on for another stanza. And by the end, it felt like they were removing scenes that they thought they could do without to try and curb the runtime from getting out of control.
I see.
That was how I felt about it. I could be wrong. It could have just been the impression at the time, or it was 20 minutes past 4 in the morning. I could have just been tired, and so I wasn't interpreting that as being... I was interpreting it as being part of the story when it was actually my hindbrain saying, why the hell aren't you in bed? But yeah, overall, I thought it was okay. I did get completely bushwhacked by one boss fight. Like, I did not expect to suddenly be in a boss fight, and then I suddenly was. And it didn't seem like I was given much of a wind up for that. But they are, it looks like, planning to relentlessly abuse the purple flash abilities that they introduced with Creator. Because every boss in the story has it. I got hit by every time because you don't have scope within the scope of a story. Because these are, I do not actually like these. I think that these are, if not a bad thing, a neutral, sort of like between neutral and negative. Because the only thing that it is to just learn the timing on one attack, and then remember it, and then relearn it again next time that boss appears, and then remember it. And it doesn't serve any other purpose, and it doesn't engage in any way beyond doing that one thing. Now, in one boss, that's fine. Every boss from now on, I don't like it. That would be bad. And it looks like that's what they're planning on, giving every boss one of these sodding things. And I hated Miasma Fiend when they first started doing the really heavily gamified, you need to do this to earn performance points in the middle of the boss fight. I really, really despise this becoming the norm, especially if it doesn't appear at the start of the fight. If it appears in the middle or end of a fight, that might be enough to make me drop ZZZ Endgame, because I really hate these. I may not be an action game player, but I'm enough of a perfectionist that if I miss a single one of those, I'll reset it. And I'll keep doing this in a loop until I get past it. And you're almost forced to as well by the game, because you basically get no points if you don't do that. I think it's a bad design. It's a good design to use once in a while. It's a bad design to use for every boss. One of those things. That's just my opinion, of course. Maybe people think that this is the best thing ever. Or maybe that's so trivially easy for them they don't care. That's why, I don't care about Ari's opinion on this topic, because it's probably, he doesn't even notice it happening, probably. Yeah, I don't like it, because it's just forcing me to reset the fight over and over again until I complete one specific rhythm puzzle. It's like, this is not actually fun. I just have to get the timing right and do it over and over again until I get the timing right on this one thing that doesn't involve game mechanics in any way, because it's just tapping a button in a particular cadence. I don't like it. If you're going to make me do something on a rhythm, at least have a good song in the background.
I like Wandering Hunter's version of that type of effect. The one where you gotta use the vision to find the right turret and take a picture of it and then block the incoming.
That's doing something that interacts with the lore and the fight itself, right? And it gives you a chance to remember the proxy as a mystic.
It also mechanically allows you to do it faster without it being a timeout point in the fight. By just knowing it's coming and being ready for it, you quickly scout it, and it doesn't take too long. It doesn't pause the fight. The one of those that annoys me with Miasma Fiend doesn't bug me at all. It's what's her face? Isolde's boss, the one that she does that drives me nuts, because it takes so long where you're just sitting there, standing there, doing nothing. It's the only one of those that really grinds my gears.
Miasma Fiend takes even longer. Miasma Fiend's way longer.
I don't know why Miasma Fiend doesn't bother me. It might be because Jane is my main character in that, and I just...
Oh, well, you get 2 dodges. That's not even the same game you're playing.
Yeah, so that one doesn't...
because you need to dodge twice in succession, and it's the only thing that requires you to do that in the game. Like, there's no way of getting around it, because the performance metric requires you to dodge the impact and then the burst. And the thing is that the burst hits more than once. That's the thing that they don't mention. You can dodge the impact and then dodge the burst, but if you don't then keep moving in that direction, ideally by dodging a second time, you'll get hit by a subsequent pulse from the burst afterwards, because it's not just a single hit. And that's really obnoxious, especially because the hitbox is incredibly unclear on it.
Yeah, so that one never gets me, because I use Jane in that fight. The only one that bugs me, because you literally stop and don't do anything, is the Isolde one. And you just gotta watch it.
I guess I never really interpreted it as watching it, because the watching portion is only when you're hiding behind the shield, and that lasts for like 1 second. Everything else, you've got stuff you can be doing. But yeah, I haven't had many issues with the Isolde fight. The main issue is when my ult timing gets way out of sync with what she's doing, and I end up whiffing. But Nothing worse than alting as the enemy characters decided to go off to the edge of the battlefield to do an animation. But yeah, it's the purple flash abilities. It's like the entire reason you have done this is so that it doesn't have a gold or red flash, and I just don't like that. Like, this is sort of like, it reminds me a little bit of sort of like invulnerability, pierce invulnerability creep, where you're just trying to outdo what you have previously established as mechanics. It's like, oh, this is like a this is not this is like a it's a telegraph mechanic that's not a telegraph mechanic. And what's more, we're using the same thing in slightly different ways in multiple different locations to ensure that you can never truly build muscle memory for this, because they look very similar but are not quite. But yeah, there are two new bosses and both of them have it. I don't know if both of them are recurring bosses. I presume that they are. I get that impression. But yeah, the second of the two boss fights, I was like, what? Why? We're having a fight now? Nobody said anything about this, or at least that wasn't the impression I got from the text. But maybe it was in the original text. It was a bit more obvious that we're talking about having a scrap now. But I didn't really get that impression. So by the stage of the evening/morning, I was reading the text and not really listening to the Japanese anymore, since it takes more brain power to translate it in my head. But yeah, that was it. It was a reasonably solid interlude, but it did feel very interlude-y. It didn't feel like it was content light. Like I said, it felt like it was going to end, and then it didn't. It just kept going and going. But it did feel interlude-y. It's like the stakes here, like, there are stakes, sure, but they're kind of amorphous at this point. And it did seem like anybody who did not quit the game over deciding that Chinatsu's appearance, and the Japanese still call Suna Chinatsu, like, they never changed the script, so the voice actors all say Chinatsu. Her appearance made a lot of people claim they were going to quit the game. They never actually do, but they claimed that they would, saying that, oh no, this game is for pedophiles, and her character design proves it, etc. Like, a lot of those people, I think, are actually going to quit the game, because one of the threads throughout this is people who are trying to institute class, to induce people to have victimhood class consciousness, are probably up to something bad and are just manipulating you into conflict. Which is like the entirety of the progressive movement for the past 40 years. But yeah, it was solid. It's definitely not the best thing ever, but considering how soggy the past couple of main patches have been overall, it didn't stick out as being any worse or any better or anything like that. It didn't. They dodged a couple of what I thought were going to be plot holes, even though it felt like a little bit rushed that they filled them in at the end. But they did fill them in. Like, in fact, the entire last half hour of the runtime is them filling in things that would otherwise be plot holes. But they did fill them in. So they must have taken a lesson from the feedback they got from the last two chapters, that people don't like when the plot doesn't make sense.
You mean when there's a creator ball?
Yeah. Good old creator ball. Anyway, it was quite. It's very, very Arya centric, more so than any other characters. Chinatsu does get a lot of attention from the camera, but she doesn't get a lot of attention on her backstory. In fact, you don't really know much about her at all, even by the end of the story, whereas you basically know Arya inside out by the time you get to the end of the story. And Yu's pretty much just a side character. Like, she's there in a lot of scenes, but she doesn't talk about herself, and nobody talks about her at any great length. The other new character that's coming out in the next patch alongside you is the most insufferable individual. My goodness. She's a snake theron, and she's pretty much like, they comment that the predator-prey relationship between her and Jane appears to be inverted, because she seems to be kind of afraid of Jane, but she is such a horrid individual. in a really sort of like low key petty way. She's like, who can I liken her to? Um, she's just such a small time brat, like with a very inflated opinion of herself. Or at least she puts on as though she has an inflated opinion of herself. She may just be fronting, because she appears to be utterly terrified of several of the people around her. But yeah, she's an individual of a certain nature, and she's blonde, so Ari won't even have any choice.
And she's Jane adjacent.
Yeah, that's also true. I haven't seen any information on her kit yet, but I don't tend to get the ZZZ news until later in the piece.
Watch
But
her make Jane great again.
In her art, she's usually using a tuning fork sort of thing, a spear. But yeah, she's not a nice person. She's got she has the level, she inspires the level of faith in her character of your average plaid jacketed used car salesman. She's that level of confidence. Yeah, you'll meet her. She has the most unbelievably grating voice in Japanese. It is on purpose, and it is a particular archetype of vocal performance that I can't remember what it is. It's sort of like it's related to Gyaru, but it's not Gyaru. I'm sort of curious how this is pulled off in English, but I don't really want to know actually. But yeah, you'll see when you meet her. Anyway.
Oh man, she's even ripping off Jane's new swimsuit style.
Do things jiggle?
Oh no, not that part of it. The high leg with the wacky.
But things definitely do jiggle though.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
It's easy. Everything jiggles.
Like these are the people that make outfits for characters where their thighs touch. Make sure that the very subtle squeak effect that you'll never hear unless your ambient sound's cranked way to the max are just right.
Yeah, I tested this. Like you can tell when you equip the outfit, the special outfit for Yishun, you can tell that they've added the sound of her pantyhose brushing against each other when she runs.
That's a
That isn't in
completely
her base
unnecessary level of detail.
Yes, but they are men of culture, Fern.
Culture and great thirst.
Yes, certainly.
They are certainly thirst quenchers for some with the amount of jiggle they supply. Look, I'm a Jane main. I'm well aware how how much we are moving even when we're stopped.
Yeah, so the next characters are probably going to be Nangong and Cecia, and the following two look like they're going to be Severian and the other girl whose name I don't remember, who is she appears to be sort of like the wet work person for Krampus, and
Oh dear,
an unstable sociopath at that. But and also has the most stripperific outfit in the game underneath a sort of like floor length cloak that you can't see under most of the time. But yeah, whatever happens, the usual suspects are going to be mad at her outfit as well. But Severian is Seth's elder brother, and is like your usual sort of like long white haired, sort of dapper Bishonen character. So there's an audience that is going to be very well served by his presence in the story. But he's the one that sort of comes to mind as a character as well. Whether or not they introduce Cecilia as a playable sort of remains to be seen. There's not really any good reason why they would introduce Cecilia as a playable, but she's got enough depth of design in her various character incarnations they could if they really wanted to. But I don't get the vibe. I don't get that vibe. But it's not impossible. I think that we're looking at Cecilia and Ngong for the next patch, and probably Severian and the other girl whose name I don't remember in the following one. Right. Yes. Yeah, and I don't think I've got much else to say about that since I haven't touched any of the events yet. Moving on to Woowa, again, I've only done the main story, and it is the main plot, and I liked it. I laughed, I cried, mainly cried, then cried some more. It was, it felt like something Key might have written in places. There's a huge amount of squabbling online over it. Mostly people talking past each other because the English localizers decided that they knew the script better than the original writers and changed a bunch of stuff to fit their own sensibilities. Because obviously, and since I play in the Japanese, and from what the online conversation is amongst the CN and KR players, I haven't heard from the Japanese ones directly, but the CN and KR people say that the JP, KR, and CN scripts align almost perfectly. The EN is an odd duck that stands out as having written Ameth differently. It remains it's a matter of taste how much it matters, other than the fact that to me it matters that it wasn't the way the story was originally written. But a lot of people aren't going to care about that. Maybe Ari won't care about it either. But basically, the main change was that the sort of the very heavy-handed sort of parental dynamic between pre-amnesia Rover and Ameth is non-existent in the original script. That's something that was added in the English because they didn't like the idea that it would. They basically they said it was be grooming, basically because because Woo was a gacha game, right? The main method of selling characters is to have people find them attractive and decide that they want this character in their roster. And the EN localizers obviously said, "Oh, this is too groomy. We need to insert this really heavy-handed parental thing in here." When the original, it's not like that at all. Ameth is just basically looks up to this individual which saved her way back when. You know, they haven't seen each other in 20 years, but apparently that's still pedophilia.
What?
Because, well, I mean, you surely have seen the memes online, right? Of like the special victims unit guy.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's the meme template where it's like, she's only 27 years old, you sick F.
Yeah.
It's like that, basically. But yeah, it's like all of the plot lines between Rover and Heroine. Most of the time, they're not explicitly romantic, and nor is this. However, the subtext is always there, and the English script has gone to outrageous lengths to extract the subtext from it.
So
A lot of stuff has been rewritten. Stuff has been added that's not there in the original text. The sort of one of the sort of synchronizing things in the Japanese script, and this is reflected, I know, in the Korean one, and the Koreans say it's in the Chinese as well, is that Chisa and Mornier and Ameth all call Rover senpai, whereas they all have completely different ways of addressing Rover in the English.
So, before we get too off in the weeds using the writing differences before we go off of that, it does cause an issue, but not in the part that you're talking about. And it is compounded by a performance problem. Now, the presentation of this patch we'll talk about later, and that's phenomenal, but the performance of Ameth herself is dog water in English. It's bad.
Yeah,
really.
I didn't sit through the English. I heard it for the first time this morning before the show when somebody posted a side-by-side clip of sort of like a key scene between Ameth and Rover on Twitter, and I played the English one and played the Japanese one side by side, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I feel so bad for anybody who played the story in English.
I mean, we've been having winners all throughout Renacida. We had Zani, we had Cartwheel, Giacona was good, like Galbrena was good. We were hitting on all the performances the whole way through. But Ameth's voice actress is bad. Like, she's just A, not fit for that role, I don't think, and B, she is a talentless hack.
Yeah, she sounds like Kelly. That was the impression that I got. It's like, this is not suitable for this character at all.
Yeah, it was bad the whole way through. Like, it's like she was given a piece of paper with no direction and still, through raw talent, found a way to make it worse. Like, it's really, really, and it's unfortunate because, you know, there are going to be people. Even despite what Twitter may say about how I'm sure they're praising the voice actress as the greatest thing ever because they can't help themselves. Even if
The only Gacha voice actor I've seen them like really savagely attack is Dr. Ratios.
because the boy isn't part of SAG, so he doesn't have the protections of the in group, which just makes me like him more.
Also, he came out against people celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, and that basically made him public enemy number one.
Yeah, but yeah, she's just a huge outlier for how the game's been going and a major disappointment. Like, I thought we were on a clean track for this game after Renacida, because all the headliner girls have been great, especially Cartwheel. Cartwheel, and especially when Cartwheel is the big booba giantess. She sounds amazing. She puts everything she has into that performance. Like, she is the most extra sounding character of all time, and she really tried to give a good job for the big Sentinel Resonator headliner of Renacida. Our Sentinel headliner for La Haroi, though, sounds like she did it over the phone through a tin can and is deliberately trying to do a bad job.
Yeah, the Japanese one is exquisite. Like, there's a lot of emotional breadth and depth to it. Like, she's clearly playing to a particular type. Like, she's trying to be a mecha action heroine, but the actress is just good at delivering on a particular scene. She's not just trying to, keep an even keel throughout the entire thing, and it's all done extremely well. There was no moment that I felt was out of place in the Japanese voice track. Everything felt like it was like, oh no, this is perfectly suited to this. Like, if this was in a film, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. Like, this is directed really well, each and every scene. And so seeing such sort of hackneyed English writing in the subtitles while listening to the Japanese version of the story was really, really jarring to me. It's like, yeah, this is not like, she does not say big old hero at any point in the Japanese or Korean or Chinese versions of the script as a way of referring to Rover. That doesn't happen.
Remember, this is the same voice actress that at the very start of La Haroi did the incredibly jarring ad lib that isn't even subtitled with the boop. The nose boop.
Which honestly, I feel like that's got even worse in retrospect.
Yeah, like before I could see it as just a quirk.
If the scene was actually flippant, then you could get away with it perhaps. But the scene is not actually flippant, it turns out.
Yeah, it turns out that's an incredibly pivotal moment in the story that comes back later.
And it's supposed to have like all the emotional weight of a 20-pound sledgehammer as well.
But boop. So
talk about just ruining a scene for your own personal vanity.
So turning Rover into, the mom that left to go get milk one day and didn't come back. That part.
Surely people were like, okay, hold on. Maybe we shouldn't have gone so heavy-handed on this, because but maybe everybody involved in the writing of the localization, maybe their dads all just walked out on them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in that part of the world.
So Mama Rover goes to get the milk and doesn't come back. That I actually could have been fine with. That didn't bug me that much. It's a wacky writing choice now, knowing that it's different. It makes sense that it was different, but that didn't bug me. What bugged me was something felt off throughout the entire first hour of this patch in the dialogue. The way Ameth was written did not feel right. I did not like her at all for the first hour. I could not tell you what specifically it was, but all the slice of life moments just felt like they were too Mary Suey. Like somebody had gone through here with a knife and done something to it that made it even just kind of icky to listen to and go through.
I think in retrospect a lot of it was supposed to be icky, because the thing that you've got to remember about Ameth is she's not right in the head.
Yeah.
And the reason that she's not right in the head is that she has been supplying both halves of every conversation she's ever had for 10 straight years.
Yeah.
So
But
her idea of the world is entirely a fantasy of her own devising.
yeah, so that that all felt weird and off. But the specific words that they used in the English and just the way the character was written, it's one thing to write a character off, but something feels like they just didn't do it right for this first patch. I can't put my finger on it. It just happened, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to reflect on it yet.
I
Because
mean,
I just
I
finished,
did
but
have that uncanny feeling in the first hour or so, but it did sort of gradually fade as the story went along, and so that's why I put it down to Ameth is finally interacting with somebody, and basically her sort of farcical take on the way the world is supposed to be is disintegrating because now she has to interact with somebody who can actually have thoughts of their own. Whereas before, she doesn't know what anybody thinks about anything. She can't talk to anybody.
yeah, when the story got
So she
away,
supplies everybody's point of view is something that she's imagining, everybody's opinions is something she's imagining, and so everything that she does and says is just her projecting on the world around her because
it,
she can't do anything else.
yeah, and if it was not for the performance, my initial gut reaction would probably not be as negative to the first hour because I had to go through that listening to that performance.
For me, it was not like bad. It was just like this is uncanny. There's something unnatural about the way this character acts. It's like this is not everything does not have the sort of the vibe of a sincere action or interaction. This is all sort of like play acting at being something rather than being it.
Hmm.
But for my experience of the story was supported by the acting.
Yeah, mine was not. Mine was detracted from by the acting, which again is really disappointing because they've been on a roll. Like all of 2.0, every single thing they put out was Phoebe is probably the worst voice actress they've got there in terms of her raw performance, but her voice is such a perfect fit, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but like some of the things that I've been seeing coming out of the like because I don't know who does casting for these. I don't know how that works. It seems like it's kind of a weird bureaucratic mishmash of responsibility. But and of course when it comes to nuance in that, a foreigner's simply not going to be able to like even if they sign off on it being okay, they're not really going to understand it on any deep level. What the nuance being delivered is. The best they can hope for is that it's good enough. But like some of the things I've been seeing from Star Rail casting suggests that it's devolved entirely into an act of nepotism, just like everything else in that sector.
Yeah. Once you
Like the utterly abysmal voice actress for Yao Guang appears to have been cast because her lesbian lover is already in the cast.
yeah. So it is unfortunate that Ameth was a miss on that. And if I had an inkling to pull for Ameth and she fit any teams, that acting would probably turned it no. Even though she plays really fun, her animations are incredibly extra. Oh
Well, I
goodness, are
think
they
that
extra?
the base, but the thing is that the vibe she gives through her animations and her sort of like her bouncing around in combat and that sort of thing, it suits the Japanese voice she has. But I don't. It just completely clashes with the English one.
Yeah, and so I
They don't
can't.
even seem like the same person.
So yeah, like if I was keen to pull right now, that voice alone would make me pull for Lupa instead. Even though Lupa will eventually make her way out of the meta much faster.
I do really like Lupa's character. I don't know what Lupa sounds like in the English at all. I've never heard it before. I like her Japanese encounter. She's just got that sort of a slightly feral edge to her voice.
She is very appropriately cast. Uh, she's not high pitch at all. Uh,
She is quite high pitched in the Japanese and very slightly nasal, but sounds a little bit growly when she talks.
yeah, she's a little bit growly in English, a little bit deeper voice, but still, her actress is doing her best to give her puppy dog energy. Very, very combat focused puppy dog energy. Um,
But yeah, every time that somebody these days, every time somebody gets cast and does a really shite performance, my immediate instinct is, oh, nepotism got them here.
yep.
That's just what I'm thinking these days. Like that they didn't get hired because they gave a good audition. They got hired because they knew somebody.
Yeah. I mean, that is unfortunately just the state of English voice acting, and until you can excise SAG from the VA industry, and by proxy excise most of
Yes, like I
okay,
saw before the show, SAG gave her an award. She's a SAG award winner.
yeah, that Shuggus arm in the voice acting industry for video games has just caused so many issues when it comes to the performances we have in game. Like the reason that English voice acting is held to such a low standard, like they complain about voice actor wages in the West all the time and how they're so low. Guess whose fault that is? It's SAG. They have
Yeah,
a
I mean,
set union price. Actors can't negotiate their own contracts very easily under SAG to demand better pay if they're good performers. They don't have a reason to be better performers because SAG's going to guarantee them work as anytime a project props up. And when you have a big old gotcha game like Woo or Genshin, eventually you're going to have to dig it into the SAG talent pool because finding readily available voice actors who are independent and manage to, you know, still be something in the industry as independents is near impossible because of how much of a chokehold SAG has on it.
and because the cast of these games is enormous, you're going to end up there eventually.
Yeah, and then they'll try and do what they did last year with Hoyo, where they try and during some strike, they'll try and strong arm you into only signing deals to hire from them, and they've done this in the past. Hoyo isn't the first company to fall victim to this. You have a lot of
Yeah, and it
characters in your
always takes a
project.
while before they get there because they're looking for like a critical mass, right? We can do the most harm to this company after we've got this many people involved.
Yeah, I wrote a big screed on the forums about it, explaining it to people, and got featured in the thread for it. Because it's just I've been following this forever because there are performers in English that can give good performances, and when a genuinely good English performance comes around, I really enjoy it when it adds to a character, and I want to see more of that. And honestly, throughout Renacida, I don't know what the status of all the people that played characters in Renacida was, but most of them nailed it and did a good job. I would like to see more of that, but as long
That's not going to be sustained because
eventually you run
more and more
out.
people are going to end up like me. More and more people are going to end up like me who've just given up because they've just had their experience ruined one too many times. And it's like, well, you know what? Maybe it is okay to throw the baby out with the bathwater because I'm going to get a more consistent performance from foreign voice actors than I am from from Ian ones.
Yeah, like I'm like honestly, a big reason I was so gung ho to pull Cartwheel was because of her English voice acting. And and when a character has good English voice acting on in these gacha games, that's a big chunk of why I'll pull them because I'm going to be hearing their voice lines an awful lot. And uh, if if they just stop getting good English voice actors, well, we're in trouble. I think it's important to call them out whenever they do cock it up. You're not going to see improvement if you don't get onto the companies for hiring people that are just dog crap.
But unfortunately, there's that massive cadre of people who defend anything
Yeah,
except Dr. Ratio.
who unironically is the best voice in Star Rail, and I've said that for 2.5 years now.
But yeah,
But
this sort of like I would, and in another context, I might call it toxic positivity, except there's no positivity, there's just toxicity. But the willingness of these fandoms to defend any old dreck is just staggering to me. Like, and it has to be an ideological thing because it seems to be independent of the actual performance. Because the things that they attack within the property are all ideologically aligned, and the things that they defend seem to be just because they are people that share their viewpoint on something. And it's like not about the performance itself, but they make up a large number of the decibels worth of noise that is going to make it back to the company.
yeah, and it's unfortunate. But even if I'm just screaming, much like you fill out those surveys, hoping and believing somebody will read,
Really, really long surveys.
I will take my 15-20 minutes to shout into the void every time there is a bad or a great performance to draw as like one eye to it that may trickle out, in a ripple somewhere. Probably not. Nobody's probably ever going to hear it, but if enough sounds are in the void, somebody might make a dent one day, or maybe SAG will just flub so bad one day that it has to pull out of the VA section of its industry. You're never going to kill SAG completely, and even if you do, some other Shoggoth will take its place. But if we could excise it from the VA sector somehow over
I
time,
do write this. this type of thing in the feedback as well, as though although I don't really have any, I very rarely have anything negative to say about the Japanese voice talent. Usually, the worst crime committed by the JP voice actors is that it's too bland. Like that's about the worst crime they can commit.
Yeah.
They don't ever like turn the character into something that's clearly at discord with the writing. But I do write commentary on localization though. Usually when there's something that basically shows a lack of care for their work, like if they try and use a historical reference and use it wrong, or they use just like, particularly early M4S is riddled with malapropism. They clearly had somebody who thought that they knew English really well, but was just using long words in a thesaurus. And then when they dispensed with a thesaurus, they just started using words that sounded about right and totally weren't.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, there's everything on the localization side seems to be just so horribly corrupt. Everybody gets their job by knowing somebody rather than having demonstrated a proficiency for the art.
but yeah. But yeah, that's my harp on that one. I think we've dinged that one good enough. The next, so we don't spoil the story for Fern. The biggest thing to note about the story itself is the raw production value they put into it. Because outside of the localization, holy crap, they went ham on this patch.
This is like, am I playing like a purpose-made AAA game here? It's like this is like we've taken another step up from Renacita at this point.
Yeah, like this is insane, the level of detail and just the raw bombacity of so many of the, not just the set pieces, but just the interlude sections. You got your pink woman.
I fell off the cliff. I fell off the cliff.
Ooh, good thing all the heffalumps are dead. Like, I'm gonna tell you some parts of what's in there. They're gonna be so out of context that they won't spoil, and I won't mention any story specifics. But like, there's a section where Ameth has to hack a computer, and you have to traverse a very technologically advanced building, we'll say, to avoid spoilers. And to do this, she hacks into a security grid of a floor panel as a little 2D avatar that creates a path for you and spawns treasure chests along the way.
Which is like tooth-rottingly adorable, by the way.
Yeah.
Because of course it is.
And she's like fighting on the digital side, and you're seeing her little avatar do stuff on the computer screen while you're running through this incredibly trippy, high-tech labyrinth of nonsense. It's like something out of flipping Control. Turned up to 11 with cute anime girls.
I spent most of the time thinking, like, what exactly are your two companions thinking at this moment? And they actually lampshade that toward the end. You know, haven't we been really kind of lucky?
Like, I can't tell if the system really likes us or is trying to kill us. Because they can't see the pink woman.
Or at least it doesn't seem like they can. There is one thing that appears to break from that.
Luke might.
No, not Luke. The little NPC girl.
Oh,
at one point is I can't remember the Japanese. I've only remember the text, but she's standing with Luke at the far side of a room, and then she calls over to Rover, addressing by saying everyone.
Oh, right. Yeah, she does the little, okay, class, everyone head this way, but it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this has spawned a million theories about it. She was actually with Sigrika the entire time, because remember she went with Sigrika after class.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the one that was with us was actually that Fraxidus guy all along.
Oh, I see.
Every time somebody does anything that is out of character, the immediate suggestion is it was that Fraxidus guy in disguise.
We have a Sparkle situation. This is a code Spark. I repeat,
it's very much Code Sparkle.
But yeah, she's gonna grow up to be a 4-star one day. That girl, she is so. When I grow up, I'm gonna be a 4-star in the Gacha because she has a resonator tattoo. I'm pretty sure. I think I saw it on her thigh or something. And but she does not have 5-star energy.
Definitely does not have 5-star energy. But yeah, there's a lot of Royan characters who are like that. Who's like they've spent an awful lot of time on this character's design, but they don't appear to be that important.
Yeah, I use the one of the mute ones, the one from the what you call it quest. I can turn big too. Oh, how tall are they compared to each other? Better question. Are these the same skeleton? Come here. We're in mech mode. We have the same basic animation skeleton. I think we do. I think your leg is just pulled up.
Could be.
Your shoulders are a little widened and your legs pulled up, but huh. I didn't. Man, your mech is big. Fleur de Lis is the big booba giantess. How are you bigger than the big booba giantess?
Well, because this is an outgrowth of the Exostrider. It's sort of like a exo swarm, except this is a purpose-built combat bit that is personally Ameth's.
Like people say Carthea is overcompensating with her horn and her giant size, but our other Sentinel Resonator over here is just even bigger. But yeah, and that's not the only just totally insane thing they do throughout it. They interweave animation and gameplay fairly seamlessly for the interlude sections. Like there's one section in particular where you're just walking and there's TV screens in the background and scenes of potential futures Ameth has contemplated when she's little is just appearing as you walk. And you'll be going through like the trippy mindscapes inside of this quest, and just the classroom is doing all kinds of morphing and weird crap while scenes of Ameth's thoughts are on the screens. The only
thing that I found interesting about it was that the way that it's like this is now the sprite is flying around my screen. The Ameth sprite is kind of obstructive.
you are a plus sign right now. There is no you.
Yeah, but on my screen, that's not what's happening though. On my screen, 2D digital Ameth is flying around the UI.
Oh, because you just turned into a plus sign.
Yeah, you don't have my UI. That's why you can't see what's going on. But but yeah, what I found interesting about it is how like you can see what they're doing now is sort of like an evolution of things that they've learned successively across other things. Like you can sort of see the line of descent between, say, Ameth's storytelling and, say, Cantarella's storytelling. You can sort of see how they've inherited those techniques and have developed them.
Yeah, and you can see a lot of the gameplay iterations and what came before. Like they really like the rail chase sections in this event. And you can see how that came from first Carthea after the Fleur de Lis boss fight, the first one, in the main story Renacida, and then you had her in the underground of Septimont doing the first bits of on rail stuff.
No,
and
I think the first one is actually Carlotta's adventures in the basement of the bank, isn't it?
Is it? It might be. So
that
yeah,
was an exploration quest that was when
yeah.
Renacida launched.
Yeah, so that was their first bit, and then you go to Cartwheel underneath Septimont, and then you eventually get to Galbrena and the infamous first person section there. We're playing the Doom movie, and then you can see Icy. And then you can see that go forward here with a ton of set pieces that are third person rover action bits where they just are continuations of what we saw with Linnae and the Void Worm and the motorbike. That they just are getting better and better at interweaving these without making the gameplay really break.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is just it's a matter of them, they always try and overextend themselves a little bit, and then they get better with practice, and they make what was difficult and exceptional in one patch, they make routine in the next. So yeah, they're iterating upon their method, and they're not letting any of their experiences go to waste, basically.
But yeah, so in narrative, they're figuring out how to interweave the characters into the main story better and better. They started getting it figured out around Lupa, although that was really kind of when they started. And then they had a they did it mostly okay with Augusta. They flubbed a little bit, I think, with the way that the storybook section was done. I think we could have cleaned that up quite a bit. I'm not sure that was the most
That
elegant
was
way.
that was like very very clearly experimental though.
Yeah, but they figured that out, and then they move on, and you got Lene. They almost made a female character that Rover didn't try to waifu. And then there was, you know, I, to use your favorite word, my head canon is that that scene on the manta ray where you go have a wonderful date with Lene is just because in the English version of the game, uh, Rover is still coming back from Italy, so she has Italian sensibilities, and it's just very close and touchy.
I see. But they've made adjustments to that scene though
Oh
to
no.
make it uh basically they decided well, basically that there was too much of a difference between the male and the female version, which made it look way more waifu power than, like, because the scene between male Rover and um and Lene on the back of the manta ray is very much more romantic in terms of like the body language. So in order to make it less explicit that, oh no, this is a romance, they decided that they would synchronize both of them, so now female Rover has very similar mannerisms to male Rover, so that it seems more on balance, like, oh, they just have the same animations, as opposed to, oh well, it's way easier to portray this as extremely romantic between male Rover and Lene.
Yeah. So yeah, but they for the entire main story, Lene and female Rover work is just gal pals. It's just
Well, I think that Lene's, spent a lot of her life being rather starved of affection. So I think she's just going to behave like that way when the pressure is finally off her for the first time in her life.
until she gets expelled for like the fourth time or gets disciplinary action for like the 20th time.
They seem to have a fairly liberal disciplinary policy, though.
Yeah. Well, unless you're the traffic cop.
Well, the thing is that the traffic cop appears to just like put her on blast on the jumbotron as his method of discipline.
I mean, it might in fact be his personal nemesis.
Like Lene is just the face of traffic infractions in La Haroi.
She has so far been the character I like the most out of all of them. I did not pull for her, but of Laharoy's playable characters so far, I've liked her the most. Um, the but yeah, the presentation for Ame's story. If the performance had been good, I might have considered pulling spin using all this jade I just bought or primos or whatever they're called in this game to grab her because her animations are so extra.
I can sort of sympathize because, like, I had my first interaction with the EN version, and my goodness, I would have been, if I had pulled this character, because I was planning to pull the character just because I wanted the pink woman and because she fits well with a lot of the characters I've currently got. But if I had then pulled her and then gotten that voice performance, I would have been gutted because it was just so awful. Like, how you release this? My goodness.
Yeah, it like I was going to tell Fern if you missed Augusta, the pink woman it can, be very serviceable on her own, even if you don't have the ideal supports. But with that voice, I don't know
Oh
about
dear.
that.
I don't know what her combat sounds are like, and I don't really want to be honest.
Yeah,
Makes random weird pink woman noises, I guess.
yeah,
But yeah, English VAs and their combat grunts are always very odd.
Oh, that's a big selling point for a character when they like. I'm not gonna turn the sound on because I don't. I'm always scared the background music is gonna copyright strike me, and I don't want to go through the options and sound. But like
Mm-hmm.
the character I call Cartwheel is called Cardathea, and when I say she transforms into the big booba giantess, I mean she turns into Fleur de Lis, who is a boss that you fight. You get to play as the boss,
Which is always fun.
and her voice actress goes
But yeah.
really, really hard during her combat lines. Like, she has the most grandiose windstorm sweep all away, and that crap is what sells characters to me.
That's always great when someone just goes ham.
Still loves him some attack callouts.
I mean, who doesn't?
Purge all evil.
It must be delivered with, generous amounts of ham and cheese.
Oh, she's playing it totally straight, but the lines she reads are so grandiose that the sheetrock is dripping from her mouth whether she wants it to or not.
On a note related by a tangent so distant and thin that it's sort of inappropriate to bring it up here. This is something that I saw yesterday and today. You know how Valve is doing their hero shooter thing?
Yeah.
They added a new character who's sort of like the badass Catholic priest,
Right.
vampire hunter type character called Venator, and immediately, because in Catholic sort of vestment theology, the color purple is used to signify penance, right? Which is why we use purple throughout Lent. So he's got purple on his outfit. The LGBT crowd came in to say, this proves he's actually gay, because apparently they own the color purple.
What?
Or so I'm
No.
told. But the thing is that he's got like a dramatic voice call out thing in combat where he just sort of shouts, "Sodom will burn," and I'm like, that's really LGBT friendly, isn't it?
Isn't it just?
Yeah. Furious tides split the heavens. Oh, this one will work. Heretic, face your reckoning. She doesn't do that one very much. I don't know why that one's a rare trigger.
You gotta have some that are red triggers, I suppose.
But yeah.
Alright.
So I can't recommend Ameth to you because of her acting if you're going to play in English. But like any of the Renacita characters are good. Like I love Zani's acting, even though it's totally a fake Italian accent. She's putting all her heart into it.
One speculation I've seen, and I can sort of see it, is that it's designed purposefully to be sort of like an exotic hybrid of Italian and Spanish.
Yeah. To me, it just sounds like somebody was told try and do an Italian accent, or that we were in not Italy, and we're like, I could try an Italian accent.
It could be if they got like a Latina to try and do an Italian accent, maybe it would come out like that.
Yeah. And then you got Vol's main DPS girl, Carlotta, is literally Mael from Expedition 33, the girl that just won Voice Actor of the Year at the Game Awards. And does the exact same voice too. You got Phoebe. Phoebe's reads are not super dynamic, but her voice is super appropriate. I can't describe it any better. Chia Kona has a fairly standard Commonwealth accent, but she just sounds so peppy all the time, and her voice actress is clearly trying. Like, Lupa has a growly voice and big puppy dog energy. Augusta is suitably big and grandiose. Like,
I absolutely have no idea what her accent is supposed to be. I've heard suggestions that maybe sort of like a hybrid of Greek and Italian or something like that.
Yeah. Galbrena's got the most ridiculous fake Russian accent, and it sounds really good. Like,
is it supposed to be Russian? Like, I didn't pick Russian from it. You could be right.
I mean, it sounds like fake Russian to me, so it could be one of the Russian states. I think actually she is from one of. I've looked this up, and she was from one of the former Soviet bloc states, but I don't remember which one. So it might be close to her natural accent. It's just not one I'm familiar with. But yeah, she's fine. Performs great. Brant is suitably big and hammy. He's also Brant, the and Brant of the expansion. You know, because you're not averse to penis havers.
Yep.
Yeah, and Brent, like, I wonder if he feels self-conscious about being the only man in any group shot.
Yeah, Renacita is all ladies and Brant. You get to the finale where
But I bet he takes them to the. I bet he like takes those group shots to the pub to show off though. Look at how many ladies I've got around me.
Oh yeah, either
Yeah, he does.
yeah, and he's so flamboyant, the girls probably just treat him like their gay friend. You know, because every group of girls has one.
Poor Brand.
Like, no, well, you saying you wouldn't want to hang out with 8 or 9 hot women?
No, because there's a guaranteed to be at least one crazy one.
Most of them are crazy in some respects. It's just a question of how dangerous they are.
Yeah, like
Yes.
a bunch of them can tear your head off, but I mean, some of them will look nicer while they do it.
Yeah. But you only need to annoy one, and you annoy all of them.
Phoebe will only bonk you on the head.
And then she'll probably take you to church.
Anywho, what's next?
Yeah. I will leave it there because I haven't done any of the event stuff other than the grim realization I came to that, well, because of the grim realization I came to that I need to go and play Peaks of Prestige again. Because, yeah, that's what we're doing again.
That annoyed me all week while I was doing my dailies, because the notification wouldn't leave my map, and I wasn't ready to do the main story yet all week because I was busy doing other stuff. And every day I log in my dailies and usually when I log into these games, the first thing I do is clear the notification exclamation points. And I could not get the map one to go away because I didn't have access to the new area yet.
Piece of Prestige. Why you like this piece of Prestige? Yeah, currently I'm stuck in the process of trying to get something resembling decent gear for Amith, but none of her gear or her upgrade mats or any of that stuff, other than her basic, she is a sword user mat, was available pre-patch. So I had to start from ground zero, and they have unfortunately made it difficult to get her set because they've smushed it in with a bunch of other mobs that already have 3 sets on them or 2 sets on them, whatever. So targeted farming is actually kind of challenging. The reason why I was bullying Gammoths earlier in the show was because it's one of the ones that is guaranteed to drop something applicable.
Yeah, I figured that's what you were doing.
Not quite guaranteed, but it's got a narrower set. It's not going to just drop everything. It's not guaranteed, but it's better odds.
I'm glad I farmed all those energy tubes before the show or during the week before, because I decided to make it my mission to fix Chia Pet's at least one of her 3-star or her 3 cost echoes, because they were bad. They were like, I think one was a 1 out of 5, and it was like just crit damage and everything else was trash. Because Chia Pet did not get priority on the tubes last time. And the other one was like a 2 out of 5 that did not high roll anything, and the other stats were bad. So I went through like 50 or something echoes trying to get one that was a 3-statter to slap on there, and it was going bad, you know, same or worse, until my boy the Hurry Claw came through with crit rate, crit damage, energy regen, and resonance liberation damage just for kicks. We got a 4 out of 5. And I got the other one to 3 out of 5, which is perfectly acceptable. So. But man, it costs so many tubes just to... Yeah, it's so many tubes.
Yeah, I haven't even managed to get enough raw material to start on that process, other than, you know, I'm still working on the 4-star because the 4 cost, because the 4 cost is the hardest part for Amith by far, because you just have to go in and do Sigillum over and over again at a 50% drop rate sort of thing. So yeah, just bully him and bully him and bully him and bully him, and then keep feeding him tubes and hope that sooner or later he coughs up at least 2 good stats would be nice, at least. But since Amith is on-field DPS, getting good stats for her is way more important than it is for other characters. Like, you
Yeah.
can get away with, like, I've got enough energy regen on my Mornier, it's fine. Whereas for on-fielders, like, no, you need to have your crit damage, your crit ratio, you want your attack stat to be good, you want to have a few procs of whatever your preferred damage type is. Basically, you're looking at 3+ good affixes for an acceptable piece for an on-field DPS. Secondary DPS supports, you can get away with 2 to 3, but your main DPS, no. Although, to be fair, I did also view Chisa through the lens of a main DPS, which is why her damage is so bonkers, among other things. Very
She's
tempting for me to just get more wave bands for her and make her into an even bigger monster. She already clears tower by herself with very little effort.
yeah. What do your wave bands even do after 3? Because 3 was the obvious you're getting the most bang for your buck here.
Because 4 is always bad. Like, 4 is designed to be a meme so that people have a stopping point, basically, and so that people have to pay more to get their C6, basically. But for Chisa, it's just like, let's just keep stacking damage multipliers. You would think that she was a DPS character based on the number of damage multiplier improvements she gets throughout her waveband set. But yeah, it's sort of hard to gauge what Chisa's effect is going to be. Like, a lot of I've seen some theory crafters sort of throwing up their hands in frustration after Amith came out because so many of their calcs turned out to be wrong based on the final release. But the last set that came out before launch suggested that basically the orthodox tune break combination of Mornier, Linne, Amith was the most powerful team in the game at present, just edging out the best team, and the best Karthia team by a little tiny bit, but it's about 15% ahead of the Looper Monofusion and about 14 to 13% ahead of the Chisa equivalent. But since my Chisa hits a lot harder than your standard Chisa, probably they're a lot closer for me. But yeah, it's sort of hard to gauge for Fusion because Chisa's main thing is that she allows buffs to stack higher than they would normally, and the curve for Fusion burst damage gets steeper the higher the number of stacks is. So what Chisa does is unlock a higher ceiling on the damage that Fusion burst can do, and no other character in the game can increase the number of buffs, or debuffs, I should say, that can stack into those stack ones. So her
Arrow
effect
Rubber
on
can for arrow erosion.
yeah, but this is like unique rather than buffs generally.
Yeah.
And she's also shredding defense at the same time with the debuffs that are synchronized with it. So like Cheese isn't all a one size fits all. If you have an elemental debuff damage debuff thing, of which basically the Spectro, Frazzle, Arrow Erosion, and Fusion Burst are in the game because I don't count Booling. On account of Booling stats are too low to make her lightning one do anything.
She's also the only one that can apply it, isn't she?
Yes, I think so. Maybe they will fix
I'm thinking
Team Sephiroth and
Lucy. I think Lucy is Electro when she's coming out. Maybe
the one thing that people know for sure is that in Woowa you cannot say anything about the element based on their color palette, and there is no leaks saying that Lucilla is Electro yet. The people who are saying that they think she's Electro are saying it because she's blue purple color.
she is the
That's the
purple
only
woman.
reason.
Can you not make
And
the purple
that's
woman Electro colored? No, I guess
also
Augusta is the most color coded for fire
she
of all
she could not
time.
be more fusion if she tried, but the she's the electromagnetism character, so I mean she is supposed to represent the sun, so
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it is what it is. You
What,
don't try and make those inferences. I mean, Sagrika is a sword using arrow character. Like, how do you arrive there? This not really like if you look at say Cartathea, everything in Cartathea's entire sort of like motif set is aquatic. So I guess we'll just make her arrow because we don't have water in the game.
I mean, she is the resonator for the pony, now ponyfish. Then pony, did it become a pony again?
It became a sky pony, and then the sky pony died, and then like I'm really confused by the end of that story. It was peak. I just didn't understand any of it.
There was a sky pony with a mermaid tail, and then there was a sky pony. But it turned out it was always a sky pony in the first place. And then there wasn't a sky pony anymore.
It was sharing real estate with the fish,
Who was evil.
but by the end, it was just like a copy of Cartathea, so of Fleur-de-Lis. So anyway, it was a thing. Don't make inferences about the element of characters based on their color palette. Augusta should teach you all the lessons you need to know about that. Unless, they happen to be a character like Carlotta where her hair literally turns to crystal when she's charged her forte, which is kind of a tip-off.
At least Chia Pet is arrow coded pretty hard with her colors.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. But
is Chia Pet stuck? There we go.
There are no Glacio characters in the game, and this bothers me. But yeah, basically, I need a sub DPS to support Fusion Burst for the to enable the Chisa comp to hit peak level, and I need a secondary support for Carlotta that's not a clutch solution, and I don't really think they're going to make Gigi relevant again. So maybe Carlotta's just a dead letter at this point. She's certainly been useful for an awful lot of things, but my goodness, her AoE is non-existent. Anyway, we'll leave it there. We'll leave it there because there's still a lot of stuff to experience and a lot of territory to cover in the new area because you don't explore the new region in the story as usual. I can't find my channel because it's full of junk.
Okay, so you are +sign mode right now on my screen while you're milking about on your UI. No matter where I spin the camera, your +sign is always in front of Chia Pet. Even when I'm standing in front of you and turn the camera so that you would normally be behind my back and when you're a +sign, your +sign is always given priority over the character and everything else for that matter when I spin the camera.
I haven't checked it on my screen because I've been distracted by Amyth shenanigans in the foreground. It's hard to tell, to be honest. No, yep, you're right. It is the same on my screen. It's more of a UI element than it is an object. Amyth, get out of the way. I can't see it.
Still has a hitbox, though. Bump into it.
Anyway, you're not going to go back to your week? Or
no, I didn't. That was it. Like, the eat stuff was the only thing that wasn't WoWa. I was busy at work all week.
Okay. So, let's get into this email then. Throat's kind of a bit raw. Dear No Excuses. So, there is no singular Vati Vidya for Hoyo games. Instead, there are several, all who have been going on about the item description that, according to them, gave away the game. Said item being the new outfit for the Traveller. Without revealing much, the keyword is toaster. Also got the Moon Horse and the new 4-star, busy building them up. I remember reading that item description, but I don't remember how toasters come into it. Maybe I need to read it again. You know what else had an unexpected focus on toasters? ZZZ.
Oh,
so
boy.
Much so that we didn't even learn Suna's backstory, which I always assumed to be some kind of suitably tragic mix of orphan and or super soldier experiment, but no. Also, in my defense, all her promo art was from the front. In game, however, I saw her from the back and that backpack. Yeah. Well, that and the fact her ultimate has an upskirt shot. However, since I have only 14k polychrome, I'll be sitting out the trio of characters who accidentally ended up here instead of in Blue Archive. One of them even has a halo. Or two of them have a halo, actually. See, one of them is robotic. It's therefore illusory. That way, I am also safe from the temptation of buying the maid outfit. In Woowa, I got the girl with the Gundam and her sword and used up probably all my luck for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, I couldn't do much with her since all the other gachas decided to drop content at the same time, so I'm still stuck underground. Enfield decided to play a trick on me. Random 20 pulls gave me 2 6 stars, Ember, but with the selector I went for the physical support instead of PogChamp, the physical finisher. So I guess I semi-scuffed myself. Not that it's a huge biggie, a physical team with Japan crashing still works. As for actual progression, I finished Valley 4 and started to make ways into a literal bamboo swamp. A zone that looks surprisingly pretty for being a literal swamp. Every AAA game this year, it's only been 1 month, has been a huge disappointment for me, and I've silked the song and delted the rune, so I guess I'll be juggling 5 gacha games. Serathis. P.S. The line giving away the game for HSR, according to all the lore tubers, is the microcosm of the cosmos. That, along with the 2 trailers, made them think that they figured everything out. Me, I'm just here to see if AHA completely breaks the 4th wall and directly addresses the player.
Oh, it's going to happen.
If anybody was going to do it, it would be AHA. Honkai has broken the 4th wall in a sort of a semi way before, in that they have incorporated like comments from players into in-universe in various ways during one of the finales of Honkai Impact 3rd. But the thing with these people, like I said earlier, who think that they've got it all figured out, is that they are just placing a bet for clout. They don't actually have it all figured out. I mean, it's fun to speculate. I don't begrudge them that, but it's pretty common for them to unilaterally declare that they know the thing. They know all the things. And, you know, usually what I see when one of these big reveals happens in these storylines is that there will be this one guy who brings back his tweet from 2.5 years ago saying, look, I predicted this. And then they'll become a micro celebrity for 15 minutes. And that's really what this is all about. Like, there's the thing with Star Rail is that there's not really anything to figure out per se, because the setting of Star Rail is a matrix in which the rest of Honkai is embedded. It's not like, oh well, like Tavat might have a raft of secrets, and some of which can be figured out, but HSR is a place where the secrets are. It's not something that is secrets itself. So any given story will have its own plot and its own secrets, its own things to speculate about and discover. You can't just figure it all out, because that would set precedents they probably don't want to set for the story. Like, for instance, fundamental truths about the Honkai verse are explicitly, much like the way they do in Type Moon, referred to as only theories, like the way the imaginary tree works, the way the Sea of Quanta works. All of those things are fundamental to the way the Honkai verse works, except they're always stated to be theories or particular ways of expressing what is believed to be true by the state of the art at the time that the theory is being formulated, not necessarily just literal descriptions of reality. Literal description of the reality are not easily accessible. And another thing that's interesting about this is the way that particularly Western lore commentators make huge metaphysical gaffes, and I think a lot of this is because they conflate the idea of aeons with gods as conceived of in the Christian West, and gods in the Christian West come in 2 varieties rather than just one. In animism and the sort of Eastern spiritualisms, gods with a small g tend to be just beings who have the appellation god, but no particular special metaphysical characteristics except for the fact that they are powerful. Aeons are more like this than they are like the primary conception of gods, which is the grounds of being, which is what you find in Judaism, Platonism, Christianity, Islam to some extent, but Islam sort of deliberately murdered all of their philosophers so that they couldn't philosophize. So, yeah. And certain branches of Hinduism and Confucianism. But in the sort of the animist sort of much more common historically approach, you've got just very limited beings. Aeons are sort of partway between the two because they have metaphysical implications, but they have like localized constraints. Like one of the core characteristics of a god with a small g is that they are local to a particular place. They can't act in all places or at all times, and they aren't, nor are they like pantheistically present everywhere, even though their influence might be to a certain extent. And when you get these creators talking about the Aeons in particular, they tend to inflate them to have a ridiculous amount more power than they actually do. And when it's inconvenient, disregard the fact that they are routinely killed by each other. And the main real lore question that Star Rail has asked, and one of very few broad lore questions that Star Rail has asked, is how do you kill an Aeon as a mortal? Because the way an Aeon kills an Aeon is usually by subsuming it. If the paths are close enough, then they can incorporate them. And depending on the level of power and the nature of the path, you can incorporate it more to a more or lesser extent. Like Nanook was basically able to incorporate propagation because the propagation was destructive in practice, not because their paths were related to each other, because the path of propagation was most closely related to abundance with sort of like a side order of nihility, because the driving influence behind propagation was suspected to be loneliness, which was sort of like related to the nihility portfolio. So they have these metaphysical implications, but they're raw power. They're just beings. They're beings that do things. And this is like in universe a major point of contention. The people who treat the Aeons as to be worshipped, and the people of who treat the Aeons as creatures to be studied. See Ryan May. And the lore creators don't seem to be able to find a balance here, particularly the Western ones, because they will slip into one mode of thinking Aeons are all powerful and then back to another mode of thinking that they're just creatures. And most of their speculations can't apply to both models at the same time, but they do anyway. So, yeah, the idea of sort of like merging Aeons into the greater metaphysics of the structure of the Hoyoverse doesn't really work because they come and go like weather. Like a Trailblaze still exists even though Arcavelia is gone. Simply because that philosophy exists, but it doesn't have a localized nexus of power anymore. So yeah, the fundamental nature of Aeons is like part of the questions that are being asked by Star Rail. So saying anything conclusively about the structure of a universe that creates them is bit iffy. They also canonically have been bled over to Honkai Impact 3rd. Like there's a character in part 2 of Honkai Impact 3rd that explicitly refers to herself as a scion of permanence. She's sort of like a canon immigrant, I guess, from the broader Star Rail world. And of course, the reverse is everybody's favorite old man, Welt, who is literally Honkai Impact's Welt. So presumably there are other Welts floating around in Star Rail. We just haven't met him yet. But yeah, this is something that you see a lot of these lore people come up with. Like Vati seems to be reasonably content to stick with what's actually written down, whereas most of the Hoyo ones, they can't resist jamming their quote head canon unquote in there. They won't acknowledge that that's what it is, but it really is what it is. They're just imposing their own viewpoint on it, which is why very few of them ever write in any of their broader speculations, and the ones that are usually by accident. But there's still lots of stuff you can find in there, and sometimes they will just take things and run with them. Like the order of operations is not conspiratorial. Like they didn't set up something from long ago and then pay it off later. In a lot of cases, they saw something they could use and then they used it later in a way that makes things make sense narratively. Final Fantasy XIV does this all the time because it's such a long, sprawling story, right? So they'll do callbacks to things that seemed unimportant at the time and give them meaning later. Or you could say the same thing for Wuwa in the current patch. Like there's different sort of harmonics to save the world, no save the cat by the time you get to the end of 3.1 than there was when you were just forced to do that quest for the 15th time in Huanglong.
Oh boy, does it love giving me that quest. I've fed those cats so many times.
They must be getting pretty chonky by now.
I was kind of hoping when if you finally fed all the cats, it would just stop.
No, it won't.
There was
I
always
got
one cat.
I got absolutely scorched by the gacha for Ameth. It cost me everything. I got absolutely scorched by the gacha in Genshin. It cost me everything. I have polychromes, some in ZZZ, but I don't think I really want to go all in on that. But I don't really like the looks of the next few characters for the most part. Like, you was the only one I was kind of interested in. If her kit sounds interesting, I might hold on to it. But I'm tempted to just invest more in Shifu, since I play Shifu all the time. Like, I play Shifu the way Ari plays the Dodge Rat. Like, when in doubt, Shifu. Just want to play any random character, Shifu. It would be Fufu, except you can't play Fufu. She does no damage at all. You will be there a very long time. I once tried to clear Hollow Zero using Fufu as my damage dealer. It did not work. No sir, it did not.
How hard did you spin on that ball and for how long?
It was well, no, she gets a whole bunch of extra abilities added to her kit that are really cool. The problem is that none of them do enough damage. Which is always the thing. It's always the thing. Oh well, it is what it is. Still looking forward to being able to play Fufu in multiplayer, though. Hopefully they let me do that at some point. But yeah, if I spend anything in this patch cycle, it's probably going to be getting, like, I don't know, M2 Shifu or something like that. Because their first two Mindscapes seem decent. Seem pretty decent. First one just seems like it's going to give you a burst out the gate, but the second one seems like it gives you quite a bit more access to her. Basically, you can not quite store two auric ink points, but you can store an alternate thing that functions as an auric ink point, so you can use that ability a lot more often. Because it basically spawns an additional type of point off of using your primary alt. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. But yeah, I haven't committed to that though. I might, because I use her so often. We'll see if I can get some detail on what use kit is like before that. I really hope that Cynthia doesn't have a cool kit, because she's so obnoxious. That maybe she will have a redeeming moment in the next patch, but it's sort of hard to see how such a grating character could have a redeeming moment. My goodness, she's so and it's not this, but that's like not. I'm not saying that this indicates bad writing, because she's written to be this annoying. Like, I'm having exactly the reaction that the writers want you to have to her. She's got that sort of real drawling tone to her voice that is like, I don't know. She's like all the worst parts of a Gyaru and a Valley Girl jammed into one, except she's also conniving in a really dumb way. I don't know. There's a particular way to describe this character, and I can't seem to call it to mind. So that's why I keep speaking around it. But maybe Ari will know what it is when he plays it.
She sounds amazing.
Maybe Ari will love her. I don't know. I want to strangle her.
I have a puppet.
She doesn't have a huge role, other than sort of like getting herself into trouble a few times, because she's trying to get her job done with the minimum conceivable amount of effort and personal danger. And of course, everything goes pear-shaped as a result of her cutting corners, even though she's spending somebody else's money. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything I'm even looking forward to from AAA this year.
Nope.
It's just,
I can't think of anything.
as an industry, it's not being very fruitful.
No, it's possible there's going to be one or two sleeper hits that just pop up out of nowhere, but
I mean, they
nothing on
usually
the really
are.
forecast. Yeah, there's always at least one.
Like I had my eye on Code Vein too, but like I said last week, yeah, like that's moved to the on sale only list.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
Well, no, it's not the price. I'll pay full price for games. Like that's just what you got to do nowadays. Problem is, I'm not going to pay full price for a game if you do the body type 1 and 2 thing and you start doing arbitrary censorship everywhere for both dialogue and, well, I don't care too much about the Gooner censorship. It's still there. It shows they're willing to cut stuff from the game.
Well, it shows that they're serving some other master, which is not enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
They've got another master. That's the thing. Their master is not the customer.
Yeah. So that got moved to on sale only. Neo 3 looks weird. They're trying different stuff. We'll see. I'm don't know what they're going to do to that game, but it's got the problem of I got to really be in the mood to play it because that if it brings the same inventory system over, oh boy, I need to be in the right mood to play it. Like that's it for recent releases that I've had my eye on. Proud Nordics is coming out, but that's just the Game of the Year edition of a game that's already been out for a year and a half, 2 years.
When is Hollow Knight? Not Hollow Knight. Silk Song DLC.
It has been announced. It's got
It'll be ready when it's ready.
deliberately
6
announced.
years, 7 years.
Yeah, deliberately announced right around the Game Awards, but not at the Game Awards.
Yes.
Not excited for Bungie's marathon?
All right,
No.
I keep thinking that's released already, and Bungie has died as a company because of it.
Well, they put out the early access beta for it, and Bungie has died as a company as a result of it. That's where all those plagiarism claims came from.
What about World of Warcraft Midnight? You know, tempted to go and dip your toes back into that toxic soup?
Apparently, they put their pre-patch out, and it's an absolute dumpster fire. So there's that.
Look,
Well, I mean, the pre-patch is always a dumpster fire, so they can go back and fix it.
True.
like, if I already don't enjoy the current discussion happening in a piece of the internet that I don't frequent, like World of Warcraft, I get the feeling if I was to go and play that game, any kind of community or impact and discussions I would have with people would somehow be even dumber and worse.
Man, I remember thinking the World of Warcraft community was bad back in the day, but communities are so much worse now.
Well,
Yeah.
it just means that the former front runner for terrible community can reach even lower.
Oh yeah, it's got some heights it can reach to if you really want it to.
Like that's just competition for them to dig that shovel and become even worse.
What about New Fable? You're not excited about New Fable?
Listen, Peter Molyneux's lied to me too many times.
He's not involved.
He promised me real-time trees in the first one. If there are real-time trees in Fable 3, I will buy it on day one.
Because you're going to play a hideous female character that looks like a man, or a man that walks like a woman.
I mean, you can only flounce so much before it gets old. So yeah, no, not interested.
Unless you're
Well,
willing to
the
make...
only thing I'm looking forward to is another freaking gacha game, because I want Silver Palace to be good, because I love the aesthetic. It's really beautiful. And then it's just going to shackle me to another freaking gacha, and I don't even care because nothing else is good.
No, it's looking like it's going to be year of the backlog at this point.
Yeah, there's a reason a bunch of my month's spending that I allocate for video games sometimes just gets dumped into a gacha. Like, usually I'll pick...
It's really not sending a good signal, but I mean, they're providing you with content that you like, so it's sort of hard to say, well, this is not who you should be rewarding. Yeah, it's ultra predatory and whatnot, but they're actually giving you a good time as well.
Yeah,
and other people are failing to do so.
When ZZZ was on its game, it got most of the budget last year when there was free months, and lately it's been woo-woo. Like, I have a game budget of around $150 every month, and if I don't spend it, sometimes some of it goes into the gachas because there's just not a whole lot coming out.
Yeah, I very rarely spend money on games that are not gachas anymore, simply because very little really captures my imagination in a big way. There's always something, like something seems insincere about it or whatever. Like the thing is that there's a huge wealth of gacha games that I could try out as well. Like there's no shortage of them. Like I never tried Punishing Grey Raven, and I never pulled the trigger on that in the end. It's floating around there. People that say the story is great, people say the action is fun. I probably won't because I've got too many things to do. But it's sitting there, and I could play it. I've got all of these other games sort of floating around, like the Yakuza games, because I've got a few of them. I haven't finished Expedition 33. I've got a sizable backlog, even despite the fact that I just don't buy games all that often. There's just stuff to do, and AAA is not supplying that. And goodness knows I've got enough freaking Christmas presents over the years. Like I got Armored Core 6 from my brother, I believe. I do love me some giant robots.
And
that one's sitting on my backlog as well.
There is autism for days in building your robot in that one.
And there's a helicopter. What's not to love?
I mean, the helicopter. Well, game journalists only know the helicopter. That's where they got stuck.
That's as far as they got. Yeah.
Well, they made it out of the tutorial this time. That's something, right? Got to pat them on the back for that.
No, the helicopter is the end of
debatable.
the tutorial.
Oh, that counts as tutorial, does it?
Yeah, you can't upgrade your mech or do any kind of customization stuff until you get past the helicopter. I have a deer.
Yep, that's tutorial.
My deer has a leaf tail.
All right then. Yeah, there's nothing there that's exciting. If there's something weird and indie that'll pop up, maybe I'll grab it.
Yeah, indie
Hell,
does pop up though. You don't
does.
normally anticipate it per se.
Yeah. Hell, I'm happy to spend money on a silly HoloLive themed Plants vs Zombies clone because it was actually fun and incredibly goofy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
None of the headliners coming up. Right, like normally, Code Vein would be in my hit range. Like that'd be perfect way to spend about 2 or 3 weeks. But I'm really mad they wokeified it.
Go back and play the first one again.
No,
I didn't expect it to be like this either. Like I expected Monster Hunter to have me by the nads for months.
Apparently, the new patches come through that did a lot for PC optimization, but my
Isn't it
engine,
late for that?
yeah, my engine for that game is just totally out of gas.
Yeah,
Maybe
even
once
though
the
there's
expansion
nothing,
comes out, we'll see it.
it may seem fickle, but even though there's nothing wrong with it, the main thing that stopped me playing Elden Ring was the lack of a hype cycle because I joined it too late, and nobody was talking about it by the time I was wrestling through it, and it didn't. It's not like it killed my motivation, but it meant that there was nothing sustaining it except my own desire to play it, and my own desire to face Margit again was not very high because he's a dick.
He is a dick. It is a phenomenal game, but
he doesn't obey the laws of physics. He's an asshole.
No, he tends to fly when he feels like it.
No, most FromSoft bosses, especially as you get Dark Souls 3 onward, have the magic of the pivot, the hardest pivot you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a great game, but you kind of have to be in the right mood for a Dark Souls game.
Yeah, well, I think that like when it comes to like the pace of combat and investigations, I think Woo is much more my bag. Like, I prefer the easygoing type of exploration that Woo has compared to the type of exploration that Elden Ring has, and I would happily mold over a boss for an hour in Woo at like one of the holograms or something, rather than mauled over Margit because he's a dick.
Yeah. Like, usually if I'm looking to play a game, I'm looking to play a game to relax, and Elden Ring and Dark Souls are not games you play to relax.
Did you ever finish it? You got relatively far.
I got pretty up there. I was in the Golden City.
Yeah, you were.
Which boss was I up to? I was up to. I could go into the volcano and do the giant noodle boss, or I could have gotten pushed into the last of the city and did the boss after Godfrey.
Oh, the giant noodle boss reminds me. There is one criticism I have of the current story in WoWa and what they seriously need to improve. It's not a very big one because it's not a whole lot of the story. But anytime there is a 100% pre-rendered cutscene, and I think there's only two that use the in-game engine, it runs at 24 FPS.
Okay.
And
Can't say
this
I've ever checked the FPS counter.
it jarred
I,
the heck out of me when it happened the 2 times it did.
I generally keep my FPS capped fairly low because otherwise my graphics card will attempt to escape the inside of my PC. So it's probably not as big of a jump for me, so it doesn't jar me as much.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is well past time to wrap up.
Yeah. So yeah, we had a lot to talk about with the new WoW patch because it was very substantive, and we didn't even cover the story and what happened. So and we probably won't for a while to give in case Fern wants to get to it because they're in a whole mess of multiple regions for you to get through if you do decide to jump into WoW. So it would not take
Yeah, Woo was going to be an investment.
it will not take you nearly as long as like Genshin or any of the others to get caught up on the story. You would get
The story pulls you along much more and doesn't require you to foot slog so much.
yeah and
Yeah, and Genshin, admittedly, the story has a lot of just sitting around and watching seeing things happen sometimes.
you will be railroaded very hard to come out the second half of Renesita, and this is a would be a problem in an exploration based game if they didn't also include giant zones for you to go explore whenever you want. But while you're on that railroad, it's got nitro on the back of the train. Like you're going and you're not stopping.
You will go where they want you to go when they want you to go there, and they will make you do stuff to stay awake. But you won't have a lot of choice about what those things are.
Like and
You are here, you are doing the thing.
like when you sign up for WoW Storytime, you're going to WoW Storytime. You're still in Black Shores, and they haven't quite figured it out yet. Wait till you get to Renesita. You're almost there.
Yeah, I'm like right on the end of Black Shores.
Yeah, once Brant shows up, and it's absolute carnival from that point on.
Right.
It just gets upward slope of better and better and better and better until we haven't hit the peak of that mountain yet.
And
No, I'm
Raguna's
still
just a
dealing with
fantastic city zone as well.
Annoying
Artistically.
mascot character.
Oh, Abby, you're figuring out what Abby's
Yeah.
skill is.
Abby sort of comes and goes. Like he's virtually non-existent throughout the majority of 3.1, for instance. He pops out once in a while, but it's not Paimon.
Nah.
No, he plugs a leak and then goes away.
He spends most of the time asleep.
He's a food coma.
Unfortunately, Paimon likes to yap, even after eating lots of food.
Paimon sometimes does need to just shut the hell up.
Well, she's got a girlfriend now that's a horse
There's a horse.
who's convinced that her brain has now been sent to the glue factory.
Yeah, at least during the show, I was able to watch those two guys get up to their antics.
Get to see the mint.
I saw the mint.
I'm gradually starting to sympathize with the point of view of giving them playable characters. You could make them 4 stars if you had to.
Yeah, you could.
Right. Just make it so next Lantern. No, we gotta have the sheep. We gotta have a sheep girl next Lantern, right? You're not allowed to not do a sheep girl, Hoyo.
They are overdue for a sheep. This is a rule of gacha games.
So in 2 years we need to bring Mooncarver in as his new gooberism is he's found a new super combat form to try out and be goober all the time.
And it's a sheep instead of a.
No, that'll be 2 years, so it won't be the year of the sheep anymore.
Ah, true.
There's no.
You'll get your sheep girl in 2 years. There is not.
All right. We should wrap up. Okay, anything else?
Yep.
Not really. I'm not really looking forward to this week. It's looking like it's going to be rough. One of my subordinates has had a recent death in the family, and his culture has extremely elaborate mourning rituals. He's from Nepal, which means he's going to be off doing stuff for like a week and a half, sort of thing.
I see.
Yeah, that
And
sucks.
unfortunately, that leaves me short on staff again.
Right. Well, this has been No Excuses with the Blonde Sentinel Resonator and the plus sign. We will
It's not
see.
always a plus sign.
Most of the time, you're a plus sign. I have a puppet. All right. Now you're a plus sign. All right. We'll see y'all next week.